see there is a little bit, a little bit of a lowering that is there. That is quite a bit of a distance from me, but that is the general direction that we're kind of looking at for this storm there. So I know it's kind of tough to see on the camera view there. It's not as clear, but from my vantage point here, we're looking into that storm that's going to be coming towards the Mount Pulaski area, Lake Fork as well. And so what I'll probably do is I'm gonna head a little bit more to the south, and so the road that I'm on here and so now I'm heading back south, and this eventually kind of runs back down into Mount Pulaski. But we're gonna watch this right here on the right. So we've got actually a really good vantage point here of this storm that they've just newly tornado warned. So we're gonna watch it right there, get a little bit better definition as this comes to the north and to the east. But that is the new tornado warned storm that they've got for Mount Pulaski to Lake Fork, and like as you mentioned there, towards the Latham area. And so we've got to monitor that very carefully, because there's still some signs of rotation. The only issue is when you come up upon some of the corn. You can tell that it's getting close to that 4th of July, and knee-high 4th of July, it's always taller than that. But hey, there we go. We get past that and have a little bit better of a view now. But that's the storm of concern, and we should have a very clear shot into that and have a pretty good idea of what to expect. So I encourage you to check back with us here in just a little bit, because this is going to be the storm that is currently tornado warned that we've been following through portions of Sangamon County.
All right, thanks,
and you
Kevin.
can kind of see actually off there. Yeah. No, go ahead. Well, I was going to say, you kind of see
go for it.
On the left, or kind of in the center part of your screen there, we're going to be watching that kind of lowering that is over there. So that's something we're definitely going to be monitoring. So we'll send it back to you as I kind of get in a better position here.
All right, thanks, Kevin. You're going to be coming up in that storm quickly here, and we're watching all of those storms right now. Multiple tornado warnings now in effect for central Illinois. Let's hit the reset button and talk about them all. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey here in the Weather Center. We've got Amelia Henderson standing by here also. Jack Griffin covering on digital for us, and of course Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy in the Storm Tracker watching things. Multiple tornado warnings now in effect for central Illinois. We'll start and take them from north to south. All of them have the signs of strong rotation. I don't want to spend too much time on any one storm here as they continue to the north and to the east. But while we talk about the flooding threat will be significant from this event as well, again in areas devastated by last night's on the Interstate 55 corridor from Springfield all the way up towards Bloomington. Let's start to the north here. We have a tornado warning for Livingston County. This is going to include areas south and east of Pontiac on 116 to Sonneman and Highway 45 from down towards Forest. As we watch this moving off to the east and northeast at about 30 miles an hour. This storm now located to the north and west of Fairbury, moving to the north and east. I think it will be close to Pontiac, but not just a little bit south of there. And so we're going to watch that closely and keep an eye on it. I think what I'm going to do here is, Lauren, I've got some new photos of that storm coming your way, just so you're aware. And this storm has got some strong rotation, some very low clouds with that. So we're going to check in on the photos in that storm. This does include Fairbury. This does include Pontiac. Sonneman, not quite in it. If you're familiar with that part of Livingston County, there's the four-way red flashing light, the gas station on the corner there. You can get some good drink deals there for sodas and whatnot on a drive up north to Chicago. That's where the storm is eventually heading downstream here. Notice all the heavy rain, though, along Interstate 55 from Chenoa off to the north towards Pontiac, and that's going to be something we watch very closely here moving forth. And so this storm warning, we're watching that. Let's move next down the line. We now have what we think will be a very likely chance of a tornado down to the east of Bloomington. This one just passed by the Bloomington Airport. Now it's on its way towards Bentown and Holder. Myrna sits right here. There's a grain elevator and a bar, and that's about it in Myrna. Cooksville sits here. Colfax is there. Anchor is right there. Chenoa is up here. This is Aerosmith, Moraine View State Park. This should stay to the north and west of Moraine View State Park, but I don't think Moraine View State Park is going to stay in the clear for long. Weekend folks are camping, if you know folks down there, make sure they're weather aware and watching WCIA on digital and more, as this storm with a very strong signature now just to the east of the Bloomington Airport. Next down in line, then, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Logan County. This is northeastern Logan County, from Lincoln to Atlanta, off to the west, looks like I should say east, Waynesville and Illinois 10. Beeson sits right here. This area of storms has 60-mile-an-hour winds and is carrying off to the north and to the east. We may see an extension of this for Waynesville and McLean and Hayworth, potentially Wapella. Heavy rain regardless coming in that direction, and we'll watch this storm very closely. You can see right here, this is our Doppler radar. It's sitting in the middle of that rain, and the National Weather Service office is there. Kevin now is moving off to the east from Lincoln, and we want to go to Kevin right now with an update. Kevin, you're watching that storm to the south. Tell us more about what you're seeing.
Yeah, that storm is now tornado warned. The storm right there near Mount Pulaski, it's got a hook on it. I've got a lowering that's starting to come down here. We're going to watch this carefully. They've just tornado warned this storm. If you're in Mount Pulaski, you need to take shelter. We're going to be coming right up on this. You can see it there in the center part of your screen. We're going to be watching that area right there. That storm is now tornado warned. As you can see, tornado warning now in effect here for portions of southeastern Logan County and for northeastern Sangamon County. With the storm that we are on, that we are going to have an incredible view into that storm here. We are going to be able to see exactly what this thing is doing, but definitely low clouds here. We've got a really good view into this. Mount Pulaski, you can see there's a little bit of a hook there, and there's definite rotation that is starting to show up. And this, again, this is the real deal now. We're watching this storm with our eyes here in the storm tracker, going to have a really good view of this thing. And so we're going to be coming up upon this here in just a few minutes as we get a little bit closer, starting to get some of the lightning here flashing a little bit more, but a very low cloud base here. And I'll let you talk a little bit more about that warning as I get in position, but we're going to be coming right up on this storm here, Jacob.
All right, sounds good, Kevin. We're going to leave this double box up here for a little bit, but I want to mention that area of circulation now very close to Mount Pulaski. Here's Illinois 54, Illinois 121. We're out of time in Mount Pulaski. You need to be in your tornado shelters now. 121 down towards Latham is in the path here. Illinois 54 to the north and east to the Dewitt County line here, south and west of Kenny in the path. This is going to be very close to Stahl's Furniture, the big furniture store there. A lot of folks go there in Mount Pulaski, and it's darn close there, trying to spin up now as it moves through Mount Pulaski at this point. For the tornado part of the storm, we can give an all clear for Lake Fork, for Sangamon County, and for areas from Sherman and Clear Lake and often Illinois 54 and Sangamon County. This is now primarily a Logan County issue. Of course, Kevin is watching it, and if Kevin waves to the screen, let me know if I'm not looking so we can get it, because if something is coming down, it's going to be very close to where Kevin is here. We've got eyes on that. Let's go down next in line. I think that's the last storm that's warned. There are more rain and storms, though. We're watching here south of Springfield. This storm showing an indication of some rotation now over Lake Springfield, moving off to the north and east. We'll be watching closely for Rochester, Mechanicsburg, over towards Cooper and Edinburgh, eventually even towards Illiopolis if that storm were to be warned. And then some more showers that don't really catch much to the eye near Girard and Carlinville. I think further down than that, the instability begins to wane, and so we'll continue to watch these multiple tornado warnings here for 3 different storms right now in central Illinois. We've got Kevin's shot up there. What I want to do is I also want to take our sky cams full, and Amelia, if you can help me, we're going to put those sky cams on max 1. We're going to start out with our sky cam that is, which one are we going to pick first here? We're going to look in if we can here, yeah, let's click the screen here, and then we want to use those there. So go ahead and let's start in Springfield and look off to the north and east and click that one. And we get that full screen here. The sky cams, there's Springfield. Notice the heavy rain now coming on down. I will mention there was reports earlier of 65-mile-an-hour winds in North Springfield. And there's been some minor tree I'm sorry, that's in Chicago, that report is. But there have been reports of 65-mile-an-hour winds in Springfield. The airport had a wind gust of 53. More rain and storms continuing through Springfield right now. Let's go next in line. Let's take the Decatur one if we can. The Decatur camera is looking to the north and west, giving another set of eyes for us as we look here. Right now, it looks like we're looking more east. We need to turn that camera around, and either you can do it or I can do it. I got it right here, actually. I'll just pop this one up. We're looking to the east. We're going to turn this one around because this one will probably give us a great vantage point of that Mount Pulaski storm. So bear with us as we spin that around. While that's happening, let's go to Gibson City real quick. That Gibson City one will give us a look from the Livingston County tornado warning and the Bloomington Normal area tornado warning off in the distance, and is very much going to be a concern for us here. It's off in the distance, but still very dark and ominous, likely some lightning and thunder with that. And so we're going to watch this and continue to keep an update on it. I'm getting that Decatur camera going here. Let's go ahead and pull up our Pontiac camera also, if we can. That one's going to be in downtown Pontiac. It's looking to the west in the wrong direction, but it will give us the look at that heavy rain and wind in the area, and that's something that we'll be watching very closely. Of course, so we've got eyes all over the place. Do we by chance have those photos from Livingston County ready? If we do, I'd like to also bring those in. All right, so we're going to get those photos from Livingston County here shortly from my mom and dad that are watching the storm down near Fairbury, showing some lowerings in the area. And so let's go ahead and pull the Decatur camera right now as I've got that looking off in the right direction. Again, it's a very muggy and humid day out there, so there's a lot of instability, but it also very hazy. And that's going to be hard for us to get a vantage point on these storms as they continue to roll off to the east and northward. I would suggest that at this point, these storms starting to make a little more of an eastward movement compared to northeastward. And so that is what we're going to watch and keep our eyes on with this storm. Still continuing those tornado warnings in the area. And of course, we're watching Kevin's shot now. He continues to move into position. We'll watch his shot. We'll watch our Skycam shots and more as we bring you this extended coverage for multiple tornado warnings in central Illinois. It is 3:53 right now. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey in the studio with Amelia Henderson. She's working on some of our digital platforms. We've got Jack Gerfin also working on things, and then Kevin's out in the field. This came from my mom and dad. This was very much near Chinoa. Look at how low that base is on the storm. And you can see the lowering that is there, rotation being reported with this. That area of rotation now is just to the north and east of, just to the north and west, I should say, of Fairbury, near Avoca, heading very much towards Sonneman, south and east of Pontiac. It'll be crossing very close to the Highway 47 116 interchange. I think that's one photo we have. Do we have the other photo from that area, or is it just one? There's the other one there. So again, a lot of scud in that, but we're looking at that rain-free base, and there's been rotation reported in the area. Maybe a throwback. This is from earlier. If we have that Chatsworth funnel cloud, we can show that also in the area. There's another photo from my mom and dad in the storm in the Livingston County area. So we're going to watch that and keep an eye on it and keep you updated here for the region. Let's go ahead, and if we get that Chatsworth funnel cloud, that was sent in earlier about 1 o'clock, we will do that. But in the meantime, I would like to jump back to radar and do some coverage here. And if we can take me full screen, we want to make sure people know where these storms are, where these dangerous storms are, and where they're heading. We'll start with our northern warning. This is a tornado warning in Livingston County. It will continue for the next, let me get the information on here, for the next about 20 minutes or so, but likely we'll see an extension. This is for radar indicated rotation. We've also had spotters confirming the rotation right now about north of Fairbury is where it's at. And so that's where it is. And this was a report from a storm earlier in that area. This was a Chatsworth funnel about 1 p.m. These storms do have some rotation and have been continuing to exhibit in central Illinois, and will continue to do so for a while longer here, as well as we have some instability. So we're looking at that rotation now near Fairbury. We'll bring back to me, please. This rotation very much right here just to the north of Fairbury. That warning will be extended, I think, for Sonneman, maybe Cullum, areas south and east of Dewitt, perhaps north of Piper City and Ford County. We'll watch that closely here, and I'll show you the base velocity, the velocity product, to give you an idea of where that area of rotation is. It's going to be very much right in here. And that gives us a viewpoint of it here. Fairbury sits there. There's Illinois 47. Here's 116. Owego is where there's a school. This is going to be very close to really kind of the no man's land, halfway between Fairbury and Pontiac as it continues off to the north and east. And I'll switch on a different vantage point. Again, we're seeing some signs that circulation right here in the middle, right square middle of Interstate 55, Illinois 47 from west to east, and from north to south, Illinois 116 and US 24. At this point, I can give an all clear for Fairbury from this particular storm, but there's another storm downstream that likely has strong rotation and potentially a tornado at one point. It may have had a tornado with it. As we back it up and look, that area of rotation now is just about 2 miles east of Myrna, very near Cooksville. Going to be in this area right here. That's one vantage point we can look at, and we'll show you the individual storm itself. Maybe an indication here that the storm has started to surge out a little bit, but still the tornado threat obviously there, and that's why we have this tornado warning. Next in line, Cooksville, Colfax, Cropsey, up towards areas east of Chenoa on US 24. This storm, if it continues, will be a Fairbury, a Forest, a Strawn, and a Chatsworth problem for us here in the region. And that's something we're going to watch very closely as this storm continues to move off to the north and to the east. We'll watch this storm here near Hayworth. I don't have a warning on it now. It is trying to show a little rotation over US 136 and 51. That's Hayworth proper. We're going to monitor this storm very closely. No warning on it, though, and no imminent tornado signature on that. This storm may be the most impressive of the day here, starting to accelerate to the north and to the east. We're likely going to have a new tornado warning soon for Dewitt County. Kenny, Turnbridge, Clinton, Highway 54. This is really rolling down railroad tracks and heading in your general direction. I think a new warning will be imminent for Dewitt County. This should stay to the north of Maroa Forsyth, and it was now through Mount Pulaski. We can give an all clear there. Then downstream, this storm coming out of Springfield, some rotation, some wind, not overly thrilled with how it looks on radar. I think the attention well deserved for the other storms that are in the area. We do have new tornado warnings now that have been issued and posted. And this is going to be for other storms that are in the northern part of our area here. And I'll show you some of these now. This is for a storm that's now near Dewitt, northern Livingston County, and it continues into Kankakee County. Sonneman on Highway 104, really just to the north, 47, and really just to the north and east of Sonneman here. These tornado warnings coming in fast and furious now. This rotation of this new storm is located just to the northeast of Sonneman, and it will carry to the north and east. Eventually, really, Dwight's going to be okay. There's a couple of rural communities. Reddick sits right here, and then you hit Kankakee County right here. This is where Kayberry is. Kempton sits right here. Cullum sits right here. This really, I think, is close to some folks that are in the Tri-Point School District. Will stay mainly a Livingston County problem, crossing into Kankakee County, just north of the panhandle of Ford County. That's a new warning, and make sure we get that posted on digital. We'll have it. A number of warnings here. In fact, they even just issued a new warning for a storm near Bourbonnais up in Kankakee County. That one will head towards Manitou and Peatone. Our friends in the National Weather Service in Chicago watching that. Our friends at Chicago TV stations also covering Kankakee County. We are focused primarily on our storms that are here in central Illinois, and will continue to do so. A lot of effort been shown on those tornado warnings. At this point, most storms have at least some rotation on it. This is our tornado watch, and it goes until 7 o'clock tonight. So we got about 3 more hours now of that. We also have a flash flood watch that continues through tomorrow morning, and it may be extended for most all of the area. Heavy rain a concern. There's a number of flash flood warnings here. Flash flood warnings now for Logan, Dewitt, parts of northwestern Macon near Lawrenceburg, Latham, McLean, Livingston, Ford County from Highway 54 north, and Iroquois County into the Chicago metro. Rain really falling in this area, and these were areas impacted hard by rain last night. A lot of damage and flooding in McLean County and Dewitt County last night, more likely now, given the heavy rainfall totals that have already been seen into the area. And so we're going to watch these closely here. So, all right, let me just check that quick post there. What I'm going to do now is go back to radar, and at this point there's enough warnings where we've got to start from north to south and continue to treat them that way. I would like to toss to Kevin Leidy, though, if we do get the chance real quick. If Kevin's available to talk in the storm tracker, watching the storm, I want to say Kevin is probably moving towards that storm coming out of Mount Pulaski. Kevin, go ahead and talk to us more about where you are and what you're seeing. And if you can here, give us a little time to reset some things in the background, and we'll let you know when we're ready to move back on in. So, Kevin, tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So I just got back ahead of that storm that east of Mount Pulaski. I'm actually going to be coming into the Kinney area here before too long. And what I'll do is I'll flip back around here and give you guys another view. Actually, I can give you our back camera view maybe, because that may have a little bit better of a view of things. But I'm coming into Kinney just ahead of that storm. They did have a report in Mount Pulaski that there was indeed a funnel cloud when that came through. So now that storm racing off here to the east, I'm just ahead of it in Kinney. They have not carried that warning any more off to the east just yet. So, you know, we're going to see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn back around here. As soon as I can catch it, I think I got a road right up here. We should have a pretty good view that I'll give you guys in about 45 seconds or so. So bear with me here because I'll have a really good view that's going to look right back into the storm that once was, well, it still is tornado warned, but they've not carried it off to the east yet. I'm actually going to be coming up here right into the city limits of Kinney. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang a right, and we're going to turn back around, and you're going to be looking back to the south and west where the storm is located, and you're going to see a lowering here that we are watching. Let's switch back over to our other camera, and I'm just going to kind of pull over here to the side and then show you guys. So that's what we're looking at there, where there could be that potential lowering, you know, that wall cloud that we kind of talk about here, you know, very low to the ground. And that's the thing with the storms here. These have been really
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to, we lost Kevin there in his microphone, so if we can let Kevin know that. We did just get a report of a tornado down near Leroy. And this is not tornado warned yet. There's no tornado warning yet, but spotters reporting from the Leroy area. It's going to be close to Downs the way things look. We talked about how that storm coming out of Hayworth now may have a tornado down. That report just coming in here. And so we'll get Kevin back if we can. I'm wondering if maybe he may have a battery issue. Kevin is back now. But Kevin, before we send it to you, this is a report from Leroy of a possible tornado down. No tornado warning in McLean County at this point, but I would suggest from Leroy, Downs, Bentown, Holder, Aerosmith, and Colfax we'll need to watch. Kevin, you're also watching a circulation. Tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. There's rain bands. You can see these rain bands right there where that little lowering is. We're right here on the edge. I can see these rain bands coming right at me. I'm about a couple minutes away from getting hit by this, but very, very low to the ground. If there would be some rotation, it's right there. It's right behind me. You can see where those windmills are, the wind turbines that are back there. Look at the sheets of rain you can see coming across right there. Coming across the road here, and again, as I mentioned, just in a few minutes, this is going to be coming right at me in terms of the heavy rain, really heavy rain. It's going to be picking up. Again, we're in Kinney right now. You can see just ahead of me. Look there off in the distance. You can see that rain just sweeping across, and I'm going to have to be jumping back in the vehicle here in a second, but there could be some rotation within this right here. All right, I got to jump back in the car because there's the rain. And there it is, just as I mentioned. So, all right, we're going to get back ahead of this here as that storm is coming right over the top of us. And as you can see, I'm soaked. So we're going to send it back to you as I get back ahead of the storm.
All right, thanks, Kevin. We're going to keep eyes on you very closely here. I do want to mention that a number of these storms now have rotation. We only have a handful of tornado warnings on them. This area of rotation now near northeast of Sonneman, going to be near Campus and near Kempton, moving north of Caberry here. And that's going to be an issue for us likely for the next little bit before it exits the region. Then we've got the next one down the line, tornado warning that's in effect for a storm north of Fairbury. That one will follow in the footsteps. Sonneman not in the clear yet. We think this will likely carry off. You can see the inflow notch right here, the wind surging around. This moving in that general northeast direction. The four-way stop at 47 and 116 where the gas station is, just on the west side of Sonneman, concerned about for that area. Then we've got a new warning that just came out for Dewitt County. That now for Dewitt County, including the city of Clinton, Clinton Lake, Dewitt, Turnbridge, and Weldon. And Kevin, if you can hear me, this storm is This storm is moving off to the east a little more than it is to the northeast. A more eastward track here, likely going to come down Highway 10, more than 54, straight over Clinton Lake. I know you're sitting out there. The latest radar update sweep now coming in. Likely looking at an area of rotation with a possible tornado down near Kenny. Moving off to the north and east, this will include the city of Clinton. This will include Turnbridge, Rowell, Osper, Clinton Lake. If you know anyone in Clinton Lake camping this weekend, send them a notice. They need to find sturdier shelter. This storm not only has a chance for a tornado now, but also has had a history of winds of 65 miles an hour. That's more than enough to topple trees and cause problems, especially if you're in an RV or in tents out there. And so that's what we're going to watch. And this storm moving off to the east, Dewitt and Weldon downstream here. Again, Kevin, if you can hear me, I really think this is going to be a Highway 10 choice more than a Highway 54 for you. You're in that storm now, moving off to the east. We'll check in with you in a second here because I got to get the other tornado warning update in. For Logan County, the warning's still here, but we can call an all clear. That storm has moved out into Dewitt County now, not a Macon County issue. It is a Dewitt County problem with that new tornado warning that's in place. And then heavy rain and storms still remain now from Mechanicsburg down to the south towards the river. Mount Auburn sits here. This is the Sangamon River right here. Cuts up through Springfield. Mechanicsburg, Illiopolis. There'll be some rain coming your way. I don't have anything that indicates an immediate threat of a tornado now. But we do want to mention, at least in McLean County, there is no tornado warning. We've got to watch both of these storms very closely. This storm between Leroy and Downs, moving towards Bentown, Holder, Aerosmith, Ellsworth. This storm also by Colfax, moving towards Cropsey. Both have had some rotation at times, and there's been reports from spotters about the storms in those areas causing some problems. So we're going to watch these storms all very carefully and keep an eye on them. No warning, but I would just say folks in eastern McLean County, eventually Ford County, need to be thinking about what to do. It's been a while since we've shown some graphics, so let's go ahead and do that. This is what we encourage you to do during a tornado warning, and we can bring that graphic full screen real quick. First off, that's a picture from Chatsworth. We'll bring Max to full screen in a second. The Chatsworth funnel happened at 1 o'clock, and that is what we're seeing with these storms here. And we've got other photos as well. I'd like to bring Max to full screen if we can to talk about the tornado warning. If you're under a tornado warning, remember, proceed to a safe place. That includes a sturdy site-built structure. No mobile homes, no manufactured homes, no cars, no driving on no driving on Highway 54, no driving on Highway 10. Clinton Lake and the city of Clinton are in the path of this tornado. We're speaking to you. We're also speaking to our friends in Livingston County, and we think that folks in the Leroy area and points to the east towards Moraine View State Park, Cooksville, Colfax, Anchor, Cropsey will need to consider that maybe there's something that could spin up there fairly quickly as we watch this. Remember, in, down, and up. Inside, most interior room of your home, getting down as low as you can, whether that's in a bathtub, a basement, a crawl space, and covering up with blankets, pillows, a mattress, even a bicycle helmet at this point. Bicycle helmets protect your head from any debris that may be flying around. Also can make it a little fun for the kids. You can take them and have a little blanket for it to help stay protected when this happens. We will be giving all clears. There's a lot of places that are now being added to warnings and a lot of places that are being cleared from warnings. And we'll do our best we can to keep up with those. Remember, you can also watch our coverage online if you are in the path of a tornado or seeking shelter, or you can also turn the volume up on your TV as much as possible to allow us to hear what we're saying and the information we're presenting. Where should you shelter? The worst place to be: no manufactured homes, no mobile homes, no cars. Under a highway overpass, a bad idea. The winds will accelerate underneath there. So drive to the nearest convenience store, the nearest rest stop, the nearest exit, and get into a sturdier building there. No large open rooms or manufactured housing. There are likely going to be some big box marts or some open span rooms. Those are not great places to be, and you'll want to head to a more interior room or a back room, like a bathroom area is what we would suggest for that. Interior room of a basement or a well-built building, the best place to be. Of course, the tornado shelter or safe room also are fantastic places to go. There's lots of information flowing right now. We've got news crews responding to reports of power outages and to reports of maybe some minor wind damage in spots. We've got folks in the field from Springfield to Lincoln, I should say more towards Clinton now, and up in Livingston County. We've also got folks here in the studio watching things and monitoring. At the time is 4:10. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey with Kevin Leidy, Jack Gerfen, and Amelia Henderson, all bringing you team coverage of this storm that is moving on through. And really, I got to say, we haven't talked a lot about Champaign, Mattoon, Charleston, Danville, Hoopeston. On the path these are coming, our time will come for some warnings in that area, and we'll have to watch these storms as they continue to move off to the east and north here. Probably down by Effingham, maybe even Mattoon, Charleston, may miss out on some of these severe weather here, but we're going to watch that and keep our eyes on it. I think really this storm may be the one to watch for downstream, Farmers City, Mahomet, Rantoul, maybe even Champaign-Urbana on the path that it's going northern Champaign County, and we'll watch these storms exit Livingston County, maybe clipping parts of northern Ford County. There are rain and storms in McLean County that may impact parts of Ford County, and then other cells have developed to the south and west of Springfield, though not overly concerned about those right now. I haven't spent a lot of time talking about rainfall totals, and I'd like to do that real quick. This is over the last 24 hours here. Look at some of these totals that are coming in. The flash flooding threat will be the most widespread and impactful part of this. Already some significant problems here. There's a measurement from Funks Grove. In the last 24 hours, 8.2 inches of rain and falling. Of course, Interstate 55 remains closed between Bloomington and Hayworth due to the pavement being buckled from water. And also there's been problems on 51 and 136 in that area. I don't have any updates on if there's any more road closures, but I have a feeling you do not want to be driving in this heavy rain in McLean County, as some of those reports are really, I think, going to be very surprising. There's been quite a bit of water damage from last night and today. A lot of folks have rain and have rainfall that has gotten into their basements, and we've had messages from folks saying they have not seen rain in their basement like this in years that they've been living there. So we'll continue to watch it and keep it updated on it for now. With this storms that are moving on, and more of that heavy rain here. Morgan County, Sangamon County, Menard County are seeing some spots with isolated 4 to 8 inch amounts. Again, because of that, of course, we've got the flash flood watch for most area. Most of the area, that's going to continue through at least tomorrow morning. The 7-day forecast, Amelia is working on that now, continues to have rain and storm chances tomorrow, Monday, all next week, and into the 4th of July weekend here. Tomorrow may be another opportunity for some severe weather. We'll take that as it comes, though. We're focusing on today first, one day at a time with this tropical air masses in place. We do have a tornado watch until 7 o'clock tonight for all of the counties in yellow. That'll include Springfield, Decatur, Champaign, Bloomington, Normal. It also includes Shelbyville, Taylorville, Clinton, Gibson City, Watseka, and Pontiac. A number of active flash flood warnings are in place also. I want to spend some time on those flash flood warnings. You'll notice here these red polygons. You can see all of these alerts on the bottom of your screen right here if you're watching on TV. But from Menard County, Logan County, the Interstate 55 corridor, up through Dewitt, McLean, Livingston, Ford, and Iroquois counties, likely seeing rainfall rates of 2 inches an hour in spots. And that's going to be a concern if these heavy rainfall continues to push off to the east. So we'll watch things and keep an eye on it very closely here. But the main focus, of course, is with these tornado warnings that are in effect. Did just get a new weather warning. This will include for Livingston, Ford, and Iroquois County. It is a severe thunderstorm warning. But the thing to note about this is that this warning is for some 60-mile-an-hour winds. The tag that accompanies it is a tornado possible tag, and that's going to include Gibson City, Chatsworth, up towards Gilman, Onarga, and towards Ashcombe. We'll focus on that later. Let's come back to this tornado warning now in Clinton. This tornadic storm now moving up 54, now on the southwest side of Clinton. This is still radar indicated, but there's been some indications of rotation. We've got Kevin down there. If we can double box with Kevin's shot, and we may check in with him. This storm continues to move off to the east. We've been talking about it for a while now. The area of rotation, from what I'm seeing here, is going to be very near the city of Clinton. At this point, Kenny, we can give you an all clear. Clinton, we still need you in your shelter. DeWitt, Lane, Clinton Lake, we need you in your shelter, and we need to continue to watch this storm very closely here. I'll pop on our velocity product, and that'll allow us to identify where that rotation is and give us a vantage point of what we're looking at. It looks like that that area of rotation a bit more broad right now, but somewhere on the west and southwest side of Clinton, likely moving over the city of Clinton at this point, and then it'll be heading to the east down Illinois 10 and Illinois 54 as it continues in that direction. We've got Kevin Leidy in the storm tracker right now. You can see that on the left side of your screen. I'd like to check in with Kevin. He's starting to get back ahead of this storm, and from what I can tell, it looks like Kevin is skirting around Clinton right now. Perhaps on the south side there, trying to sneak on through. Kevin, if you can hear us, I'd like to hear more on what you're seeing and what your plans are moving forth.
Okay, yeah, so you are correct. Just went through Clinton. Literally in the past, I would say 10 seconds, I've had the rain stop. I can actually shut the windshield wipers off for the first time in a little bit. That band really hit me there, and I had to kind of get back ahead of it. Like you said, this storm is kind of evolving. I tell you, on the north side of Clinton, if you go north there on north of Clinton, on 51 there, wow, there's some big time wind just north there associated with that kind of big complex there from Wapella all the way down to Clinton. Looks like radar indications there of possibly some 60-mile-an-hour wind gust right there over the Wapella area. I am back ahead of the storm, so what again is going to happen is I'm going to turn back around here and hopefully get another view for you guys because there is still a little bit of a lowering that, let's see, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to try to switch behind me. Oh yeah, so there we go. There's a lot better view. That's the storm behind me now that's going through Clinton, okay? And so I'm moving away from, I'm now east of Clinton here on Highway 10. That's the storm that's going over Clinton right now that is bringing the very heavy rainfall, those gusty winds there. And so I just got back out ahead of it. So we're going to follow this along Highway 10, but you can see the structure. Look at the structure to the clouds there, and where again you just look for some of that rotation, look for some lowerings more than anything else. That thing's got a lot of wind associated with it, and that stretches all the way up there north along 51. So definitely be taking shelter. Dewitt, kind of down the line here. This thing has been kind of cycling a bit, but this thing could quickly once again develop a funnel, a tornado here, and it's something that we've got to monitor very closely. And so I'm, again, getting back out ahead of this. My plan is to, like I said, just try to maybe get a little bit more ahead of it than where we have been, so I can have a little bit longer view of this. So maybe I continue, as we get closer to the, the Weldon area and whatnot. But this storm still looking very strong, and you can just see that by just looking at the camera shot there. So the problem is we're fighting as we drive. We're fighting keeping ahead of the storm, giving you a good view of the storm. You can see now I'm coming into some wooded areas here along Highway 10. If you're familiar with that, what we would call the wooded areas for central Illinois. But again, we're going to send it back to you here as I reposition. Another good shot for you here in just a few minutes. But live in the storm tracker, we're going to.
All right, it seems like once Kevin drives into the woods there, we lose him a little bit, and we lost him right at the end. He is now heading to the east from Clinton. That storm very much over Clinton now does have our eye for this possible tornado. I will say, as soon as he gets back, he's in that wooded area. It's a very rural area around Clinton Lake. Cell service ain't great over there, but you could see the lowering in that storm over the city of Clinton carrying to the east. In about 5 minutes, I think we'll be able to give an all clear to Clinton proper. Downstream, then Lane, Weldon, and Dewitt are going to be a concern for this particular storm. And Clinton Lake, I will mention that. If there are people who are out in Clinton Lake, we really need to let them know, with the strong winds that Kevin's been seeing, the strong winds this storm has a history of, we're really concerned for folks in Clinton Lake at this point, from Dewitt, Weldon, and Lane, as the storm continues to move off to the north and more to the east now. And storms do appear to be accelerating slightly. This storm taking a little more of a right turn, and that may bring it more towards northern Piatt County and parts of Champaign County in the next hour or so. We're going to watch it closely here. Remember that tornado watch does go until 7 o'clock tonight for much of the area. You can get details on that on the WCIA 3 weather app. Let's reset real quick as we're watching that storm. We still have other storms to talk about. Thankfully, the barrage of tornado warnings we had from Livingston County, most of those getting ready to exit the area. And at this point, we're going to watch these storms north and east of Sonneman. A couple of warned storms now for Livingston and Kankakee County. And that's what we're going to watch with this storm exiting. Once that happens, then we just have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. And that's going to include much of Ford, parts of Iroquois and Livingston County. You can see here, there's Gibson City, Melvin, Roberts, Thawville, Piper City, Sibley. You've got Guthrie, Garber. There's Harpster down here. Cropsey and Anchorage over here. This warning is for this new line of storms that's coming on in. And if we can, I'm going to bring that camera up. We're going to take a look at some of our cameras into the region. The Gibson City one does have my eye. If we'll get that popped up for you for this particular storm. If you can go ahead and bring max to full, perhaps we'll get a view from Gibson City of what we're seeing. Those dark and ominous storm clouds off in the distance as those storms are rolling on. And these storms will have some 60-mile-per-hour winds with them as they approach, but that tornado possible tag is an indication that there is some rotation with this line of storms that needs to be monitored closely as it continues to move on through, and that's something that we're going to continue to watch. Our main focus at this point continues to be the tornado warning in Dewitt County, and this is going to continue for a little while longer here. A area of rotation showing up very well now, in my opinion, and we are going to watch it closely here. If you look, you'll see that little hook that shows up here wrapping around just to the south of Clinton. Inflow notches there, your rear flank downdraft wrapping around. This one may be more towards Lane and south part of Clinton Lake, but I still think DeWitt and then Clinton specifically. Give me another 2 minutes. And give me another radar frame before we give you the all clear. This more Lane and Weldon, Highway 10 to the east. Let's go ahead and double box with me on screen with Kevin's shot. Looks like it's in and out, but you can see that lowering behind him as he heads to the east right now. I'd like to get that done, and we're going to watch that shot closely. And it may come in and out, and if it does, just switch to a sky cam back and forth. But Kevin is watching this very closely in DeWitt County as he is in the, I believe, Lane area moving off to the east. I'm pretty sure he took Highway 10, so he'll be heading towards Weldon and D-Land Weldon High School. And so we're going to watch all of that very closely here. Just checking some of the comments and the reports in this area. Again, I understand there's frustration of the TV coverage and cutting in. We've been on here for a full 3 hours and 20 minutes. You want to watch other things? I want to do other things. I want to be behind the scenes. But our job here at WCIA is to stick with severe weather coverage. It's our duty to serve our communities here as the weather team. And we're here now for parts of DeWitt County. Just because you don't have a warning now doesn't mean you won't get a warning. And I tell you what, if it makes you feel better, you can send all the nasty messages to me you want. It ain't going to change it. We're going to keep going and keep doing this coverage. If that makes you feel better, by all means, I'll be the scapegoat here. But we continue to watch this. On the left side of your screen now, Kevin is watching that storm in DeWitt County, and he's looking at it back to the west, that lowering that's there. And we're going to keep very close eyes on that and monitor things very closely here with this storm. All right. We did just get a new tornado warning, and that's going to include parts of Ford and Livingston County, and that's going to be for a storm near Sibley and Fairbury. That warning just came across the wire here, so while we've got DeWitt County covered on the left with Kevin, we'll give an all clear to... We'll give an all clear to Clinton shortly, but give me a minute to talk about this. And also a report just came in for news. If we can send Chris towards Buffalo, along the highway, there's reports of large trees down near Buffalo. That's just came in. Sangamon County Emergency Management is looking into it, but that report came from the National Weather Service. So I'd like to send Chris towards the highway in Buffalo, and I believe that's going to be Highway 54. Just checking here as we get our crews and assess things behind the scene. I'm sorry, that's going to be more Interstate 72, but the old 36 looks like. So somewhere in that area, if we can reach out to Sangamon County authorities for more information as well, that would be important. Let's talk real quick of this new tornado warning. If we can bring me on camera one here, full screen, so I can talk who's in, who's out. This new tornado warning is for the circulation here in southwestern Livingston County, but I'm also concerned for the line coming into parts of northwestern Ford County. This will be for areas from Garber and points to the north, including Sibley. It will include Fayette. It will include parts of Fairbury and Chatsworth and Forest, and as well as Piper City and Roberts in the path of this storm, primarily concerned for Fayette and points to the north and the east. All right, we need to go to Kevin real quick for an update on the DeWitt County storm. Kevin, let's take you full and tell us what you're seeing.
All right, so this storm coming in here, it is still looking very ominous. This is still tornado warned here. As you can see, we are now east of Clinton here, between Clinton and Weldon on Highway 10. We're right on the leading edge again of our storm here, where this thing is coming. What we're looking at, I just want to get out here for a second again and show you. You can see the lightning strikes. See this right here. We need to keep an eye right here, okay, where there's, these little fingers that are kind of coming down. We're right on the leading edge of this. That area right there is where this is coming right at us. Look at that lightning strike right over there off in the distance there, that cloud-to-ground lightning coming at us here. We're going to reposition again as it's going to kind of take over us here in just a second, but we're watching all of that little area there because this is right on the leading edge of this. As you can see, there's the little lowering, a lot of lightning with this here. The rotation, I'm not seeing a ton of it, but those little fingers starting to come down just a little bit there. We have to definitely keep a very close eye on this. Again, I am just east of Clinton. There's that little notch that is kind of trying to show up there. Southeast of Clinton, and so we're looking into that right now. If there would be something, and again, you can see the very, very strong lightning, and sometimes that lightning can be an indicator of a strengthening storm here, a very healthy storm. You're looking at it right now. Again, there's a little bit of that rising motion that is on this. More than anything, you're going to have some really heavy rainfall. You can see it right there, okay? See that area right there? We're really watching that carefully to see if that begins to kind of drop anything. We are positioned perfectly to see something. We're going to have to start racing back to the east again here along Highway 10 before too long. But that storm is still very healthy as it kind of comes across there east of Lincoln. The rotating part of the storm there, they're going to be right here along Highway 10. And if you're in the Weldon area between Dewitt and Weldon, you need to be taking shelter here immediately because this storm is still showing some very healthy signs to it. Lots of lightning beginning to show up here as well. So again, I'm going to have to reposition here in a second, but I just wanted to give you guys this view because it is looking pretty impressive here. The winds start to pick up, and that means it's time for me to try to get back out ahead of this. So we'll let you guys stay with the shot and take back over, and it looks like maybe you got something else coming in.
Yeah, Kevin, we got a lot of things happening right now. Of course, we're focused on the tornadoes. The flooding threat is a concern also. I will mention the McLean County EMA just reported that Interstate 74 in the Downs area is underwater. This is a big flood scenario. Also, the flash flood warning continues. At this point, we encourage no travel in McLean County because of the heavy rain in those areas. They've already seen 8 to 10 inches of rain in some spots there. Illinois State Police is responding to that. If we make sure we can take care of that on social as well, and Lauren in the back, I know we've got crews that are watching, but that's a serious sign if the interstate is underwater. Interstate 55 already closed southwest of Bloomington. 74 may be next between Bloomington and Champaign in the Leroy and Downs area. And so that's going to be a concern. So we can see Kevin as he's repositioning with the storm here in Dewitt County. You can see behind him, just an impressive shot. We'll need to watch his shot very closely as that rotation starting to pick up a little bit now, very near the community of Lane on the south side of Clinton Lake. At this point, Clinton, the city of Clinton, we can give you an all clear if you live in Clinton, along and west of US 51, also all clear. Lane, DeWitt, Weldon, Clinton Lake, if you aren't in your shelter now, we'll need you to go to your shelter at this point because of the storm with increasing rotation, showing signs of strengthening, continuing off to the east and to the northeast. Downstream, first heads up for friends in D-Land, White Heath, Mansfield, Farmer City, off towards Mahomet and Fisher. Those areas are downstream from this particular storm. While we have this one tornado warning, we've got another one in effect for parts of Livingston and Ford County. And this one, really a very interesting feature here. I'll show you where this is. First off, this is wrapping around to the back side. So this rotation, the main area is going to be rain wrapped very much south and west of Forest, north of Sibley. However, Sibley, Strawn, Forest, Chatsworth, I still need you in your shelter here. And if you're in those areas, you can tune in, send us any parts of any photos and viewer reports here. We've got folks that are in the field watching it and keeping our eyes on it. We'll take those messages on Facebook and more. And of course, we've got crews that are all over digital platforms watching things very closely into the region. So that new tornado warning that was issued earlier now for Livingston and Ford County, primarily concerned with this feature southeast of Fairbury, southwest of Forest. Fairbury, you're all clear. areas from Forest to Strawn. There's the railroad track crossing at Highway 47 on the northwest side of Strawn. Sibley. All of those areas, we encourage you to take shelter, not only because of this rotation here, but also the leading edge of the line may very well have some spin-up circulations on it. And I'll show you the velocity here. We'll take a couple different looks at it. First off, this is the most obvious area of rotation here, about 4 miles northwest of Cropsey, moving off to the east and northeast. Strawn, Risk, Forest, Chatsworth, eventually Piper City, Roberts, up towards Kempton. In parts of far northern Fort County. Stell, the community of Stell sits up there. Those are areas we're going to watch for this area of rotation, but we also think there may be the chance for brief spin-up tornadoes on the leading edge of this line from near south and west of Sibley all the way up towards Risk and Chatsworth. That's going to be something we monitor closely here. If not a tornado, there still is going to be straight line winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour on the leading edge of that line. We'll take a look further down here. You'll notice all of these bright red colors, an indication of some of that wind and rain coming on in. A lot of wind pushing out from this. No warning in McLean County, but Gibson City, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning there. And we're going to take our Gibson City camera on Max 2 real fast and show you a view from the Gibson Area Hospital. Look at that. Bring that full screen if we can. That is an impressive shot. Amelia, if we can get a screenshot of that and post that on social, that storm means business. To the right there over the middle school, off in the distance, that's one of the more concerning features of this storm. As we continue to watch the storm moving off to the east and northeast, Sibley, likely going to get strong straight-line winds in addition to the chance for a tornado, but also the main area of circulation is wrapped up in on the backside of this storm to the west of Strawn. In addition, then, while we've got that, we'll go back to the double box here. Kevin, on the right, on your left side of the screen, my right, your left, continues to be in the Clinton area and is watching that storm very closely here as these ominous pictures are coming on in. Tornado warning right now for Dewitt County. That warning is, we're waiting for an update on that one, and we still have the tornado warning for Ford and Livingston County. Kevin, watching that storm in Dewitt County very closely here, we still think at this point Clinton Lake and Moore needs to seek shelter. Kevin, if we can, I'd like to jump to you real fast. We've got the storm you're on, but we also have that storm that is near Fairbury and Chatsworth. All of these storms have been exhibiting at times weak rotation, and they've pulsed up and down. Your storm seems like it maybe has come down a touch, but that doesn't mean that we're out of the woods yet with that. Tell us more of what you're seeing.
Yep, just come down just a touch here. It looks pretty good here about 10 minutes ago. It is kind of cycling here a little bit. Cloud base maybe not as low, but again, it's getting ready to. Here's the thing about these things: you gotta reposition and move pretty quick. The corn, you'll see it start to wave a little bit more, which is that indication that we're starting to get that leading edge of this here, of those winds. And I'm not seeing, really any lowering here. So I would actually agree with the Weather Service on not carrying on that warning here, at least for the time being. But these have been cycling quite a bit. And at any moment, these things could develop once again. So I'm going to send it back to you for a second so I can reposition and get back out ahead of this. And we'll see how this thing goes as it goes. I got to make a decision whether I'm going to go north there once I get to Weldon or not. But I may just continue to kind of hug here along Highway 10 and see if this thing starts to spin any more and get some of that rotation. But we'll send it back to you for now.
All right, thanks, Kevin. We continue to watch this tornado warning in Ford and Livingston County. Again, we've got your shot up, and we'll keep it, Kevin. If we can, at this point, I'd like to put, since DeWitt County, the tornado warning has been dropped. They're monitoring for a circulation still. It looks weaker. Let's check in there real fast, but I want to double box the sky cam and then me as well here so we can look at Gibson City. This here is where that storm is, over Lane, moving off to the east. Maybe not quite as impressive as it was, and so the National Weather Service has dropped the tornado warning for DeWitt County. At this point, you can go about your business. However, I would encourage you to still be watching very closely that storm in DeWitt County as it carries off to the east. The main concern now is with this last tornado warning, and hopefully this is it. We'll wait and see. This main tornado warning here, an area of rotation very close to Forest, points to Forest and Chatsworth next in line, but also widespread straight line winds of 60 to 70 mile an hour expected. That leading edge now from Chatsworth towards Sibley and down into Gibson City. We know sirens are sounding in Gibson City for the storm here. Again, when these sirens go off, we encourage you to really yes, we call them tornado sirens, but more than anything, it should be a notice that you need to get more information. And that's what we're here for on TV. As a lot of our viewers from this area are watching now, our coverage on digital and on TV. And that's why we're staying with this, because we think this is a very worrisome signature, especially for the storm near Forest, but also with the straight line winds coming on in. That Gibson City camera is going to be very, very interesting to watch. Though it appears that the tornadic part is going to stay north of Gibson City, I still expect some strong straight line winds in Gibson City here very closely. We do have my dad in that area. They were reporting in Sibley that it's very windy right now. As they're driving south from Sibley, they're going to cut in front of this and get back into the Gibson area very much here in the next little bit. But that area of circulation right now appears to be very close to Forest, moving off to the north and to the east at about 35 to 40 miles an hour. So we will stay with this. We will stick with this with team coverage now. The time now is 4:35. We've been here a while. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. We've got Amelia Henderson in the studio. She's helping us on digital. Jack Gerfin is in the field on digital. Kevin Leidy is in the storm tracker and is watching things from there. He's in Dewitt County. We'll continue off to the east. We're going to stick with this storm because of the tornado warning along US 24 in Livingston and Ford counties. This does include Sibley. This does include Chatsworth and Forest. Right now, I think the most immediate concern is for Forest, Chatsworth, now also Piper City, with that storm as it continues off to the east and moving here at about 35 to, 45 miles an hour, I should say. That movement and picking up a little bit, and that's a sign that the winds are starting to surge out a little bit more here into the region, something that we'll be continuing to watch here very closely. Just checking a couple of sources for information. The only warnings we have at this point are for Ford, Iroquois, and Livingston County concerning severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings. And it looks like we're going to keep that here for at least 5 o'clock, and we may see an extension. If we do, we'll get this through Iroquois County, get it out of here, and go back to regular programming. Until that happens, though, we'll stay here with you. We do have the tornado watch that continues, and that's going to continue until 7 o'clock tonight for many counties. What I do expect soon is probably from Sangamon, Menard, Cass, and Morgan counties, maybe even Logan County. The watch will likely be dropped soon for those areas. I think the threat is much lower while we are starting to transition slowly from severe weather. We're moving into the part of the day where flooding becomes a big concern here, and that's why we do have that flash flood watch across the area that goes through at least Sunday morning and is going to be likely another big-time problem, especially in areas that were hit hard by the flooding rains last night. They're getting it again today, from Lincoln to Hayworth, Bloomington, McLean, even into parts of Pontiac, areas in northern Ford County. We'll show you some of these rainfall totals here that have already fallen, and these are going to be as of this morning. Actually, I don't have those available right now. What I will do is show you rainfall totals here from Storm Tracker Doppler, those radar estimates, and you'll see that there is some very heavy rain that has fallen. You know, we're adding rain on top of rain that's already fallen here. From Decatur to Springfield, those red colors, an indication of heavy rain. We've seen some reports in Springfield of 4 to 6 inches, same off towards Niantic, Harristown, Warrensburg, Latham in that heavy area, but the heaviest rain by far has fallen in South McLean County. And if we can, I'd like to get a hold of the EMA director up there, the EMA office, to learn more about Interstate 74 or even Interstate 55. At this point, I think it's fair to say, based on the reports in McLean County here, first off, this dark blue color here, indication of 8 to 10 inches. I'll pop the query tool on. This is in the last 24 hours. There's the road name. I want the color to tell me what it is. 8.1 inches of rain being measured there by Doppler radar, and there has been plenty of ground truth of that. The rain continuing to fall. We know Interstate 55 was closed due to damage from heavy rain and water near Funk's Grove. That's from Bloomington down towards the McLean exit. Hayworth has had some problems north in US 51, west on 136. And now if we're dealing with flooding on Interstate 74 near Downs, that's going to be a concern moving on forth. Whether or not we're able to get there or we're able to get our friends at WMBD in contact with them and see what they're doing, really that McLean County issue, the flooding going to be a significant problem there, but still seeing quite a bit of rain with these storms from last night and today. 3 to 4 inches of rain has fallen in the last 24 hours in swaths along along US 136 as well as through Livingston, northern Ford, and northwestern Iroquois County, where those storms are going right now. There's the Gibson City camera. You can see how the rain is fast approaching that area, and we'll continue to monitor that. Before we get to back to the tornado warning, this is a look in Interstate 55 near Funks Grove, shared by the Funks Grove Fire Department. This is from this morning. They have the interstate shut down. Look at these pieces of pavement that are up. It will be a while before that interstate is opened back up. They'll have to do structural assessment on the bridge there. If you're familiar with Interstate 55 from Bloomington to Springfield, this is where the rest stop is there southwest of town, and that still, from last check, remains closed in that area, and now it looks like we're having problems on Interstate 74 in southeastern McLean County. Let's go ahead and go back to the double box in Gibson City and show you that camera. And you'll see that now the tornadic part of the storm does appear to be up by Chatsworth, but still some substantial winds likely with this storm coming on through. And will be a concern for Melvin, Roberts to Piper City, and perhaps carrying into Iroquois County before all is said and done. That would be generally, I think, west and north of Gilman and Onarga. That's where the severe thunderstorm warning is. We don't have a tornado warning for Iroquois County yet, but that may be something that happens here soon. No other warnings are in place for the storms to the south here. You can see the storm near Farmer City. We'll watch it. The storm near Decatur, some heavy rain now coming there. Let's do a quick check in Decatur, and I'm going to pull that sky cam back on the double box. You should switch automatically from that one. We want to look in Decatur because of some of that rain coming down in the west side of town. No indication of severe weather with that storm, and no indication as well of severe weather with the storm further to the south here. What I think is happening is, as we're getting later here, the instability continuing to wane, and that will start to slowly happen here. The most instability seems to be along the I-55 corridor. The further east we go, maybe the lower the threat for severe weather will be. And so we're going to watch that closely and keep you updated here. Still, though, do have that tornado warning, that area of rotation very much over Chatsworth, moving in towards Piper City and more. We do have some video to share, and I didn't catch where that was. This is video from earlier. And where was this at by chance? Melvin. This is from Melvin, sent in. We appreciate our viewers in Ford County, my home stomping ground, sending in this video from the Melvin area. And that is the storm as it's moving on in out of Sibley and carrying off to the east. The rotation itself, as we show you on velocity, is going to be very much over Chatsworth. It's not an overly strong signature at this point, but a lot of times these can be misleading when we're dealing with these wrapped up rain-wrapped circulations. And so very much, I think, for Chatsworth, very much over town. That'll be moving to the north and east, crossing 115 north of Piper City. That leading edge of the storms to the south, though, is going to be where we see a lot of wind coming into Sibley and Melvin, towards Roberts, parts of southeastern Livingston County, and up into the panhandle of Ford County from Piper City, Roberts, and 115 to the north there. So we're going to watch all of that very closely. But something of note here, this has came in the last scan or two. And let me just check something before I say what I think I'm seeing. So there's the velocity. Let's take another look at velocity. All right, let's now take a look at reflectivity. Okay, so what we're seeing is the wind really whipping out ahead of this. I'm starting to grow interested in a little feature just to the north and east of Gibson City. And that feature has caught my attention on radar. You'll see where these little green pixel is here. That's at the curves north of Gibson City on 47. That's where Garber is. Maybe we'll watch and see the next radar frame or two. It'll advance and take its way towards Guthrie on 54. But there could be maybe a circulation trying to get going there to the north of Gibson City. Nothing of imminent concern, no warning, no tornado warning for this signature. You'll see the polygon for the tornado warning stops just shy at that. But we know this entire line of storms here does have the potential for at least some tornadoes as well as some straight line wind damage as it continues starting to bow out and push off to the east and northeast here. And so we're going to watch it closely. Did get a new severe thunderstorm warning that just came in. This is for the storm that Kevin is down on. And Kevin's down in Dewitt County. I want to check in with Kevin in a minute. And we're going to switch back to the Gibson City camera first. So what we'll do is we'll take me full, then we'll talk to Kevin. And there it is, folks. This is the new weather warning that's coming across. Hear that sound here? If you have your NOAA weather radio, that's the new transmitter tower broadcasting the new alert for parts of Champaign County, as well as Piatt, McLean, and Dewitt County. That is coming from our transmitter. We've got it back online, the WCIA 3 tower. In McLean and Dewitt County, you'll need to change the channel from 6 to 7 because of the outage in Bloomington. The Channel 7 tower will catch you if you're in southeastern McLean and much of Dewitt County. We had a story about that on our website a couple of days ago. But the weather radio now working in Champaign County, there's evidence of it. And that's good news for us here, as that's something a lot of folks have been asking for. This is the storm now very much over Clinton Lake near Fullerton. That's where you take Illinois 48 south, you take Illinois 54 to the west, and to the east, then you come into Farmers City, kind of close to the nuclear power plant here in DeWitt County. This now an indication of some surging winds coming in. And there you go, the latest update bringing those into Farmers City. Likely some strong straight line winds of 50 to 65 miles an hour now in Farmers City, and moving towards Bellflower, Mansfield, Fooseland, and Fisher. This warning just came out, severe thunderstorm warning only, but still I think that's going to bring some strong winds along the US 136 corridor from Bellflower towards Fisher and towards Fooseland here in the next little bit. So we're going to watch that storm closely. This storm, to me, also more an indication that it's going to be straight line winds rather than a tornado threat, but we're going to have to watch it closely here. I'll pop on reflectivity, and you can start to see almost that backward C shape. Likely Farmers City now getting blasted with some wind and some rain there. The area of circulation, if it's still there, it's weak. Kevin's on it. He's watching it. We're going to talk to him in a second here. Very close to D-Land and Weldon. No warning on it, but that's the part of the storm that we're going to watch closely. If something were to spin up, we're on it. We'll bring it to you. Our one tornado warning continues to be, though, for Ford and Iroquois counties, and that's what we're on here in Gibson City. That's Decatur. Let's bring up Gibson City real fast on my screen. So we'll bring my graphics on max 2 full, and that... if we bring max 2 full here, we'll see the rain starting to come down as that shelf cloud moves overhead. And you can see the dark, ominous sky here in Gibson City. A lot of the wind and the rain to the north and to the east of there, now starting to move into town. So we're going to watch everything. I wish we could turn this camera. We don't have the ability to do that, but our partners at Gibson Area Hospital have worked with us to get that camera up here in central Illinois, and it's very valuable for many areas. Our camera network valuable for the communities that we're able to serve there. All right, we'll go back to radar and check in with Kevin here real fast. We'll get the double box going. I'd like to talk to Kevin more about the storm he's on. One tornado warning right now, Kevin, for Ford and Livingston County. The severe thunderstorm warning, though, just issued for your storm. There's another surge of looks like wind coming into the north side of Decatur towards Argenta, Oriana. You're out there watching in the storm tracker. Tell us more about what you're seeing and what your plans are.
All right, so I am located, I'm just north of D-Land, and there it is. There is that leading edge of that storm that is just severe thunderstorm warned. We're going to go ahead and punch north here and probably drive into this thing, because I'm going to try to get up into Farmers City, then maybe follow this a little bit more to the north and east, and we'll have a pretty good view of this, and we're going to go into it, I think. So I'm not seeing as much of a lowering. We had something a little bit earlier that looked pretty impressive here, but you can see that on radar, the very bottom edge of this, there's still a little something there that we're going to really kind of monitor right now. They just got a severe thunderstorm warning associated with this storm here, but we're going to have to watch and see if this thing wants to kind of ramp up a little bit on the southern edge. We call it the here on the southern end, they're just north of the D-Land area. That's what you're looking at here, and this is the storm that's coming into Farmers City right now that probably is just about to really get that heavy rainfall, and you can see the lightning there off in the distance. I want to tell you this, though, in Farmers City, about it earlier, but in Farmers City, they got a ton of rain, and they got flooding. Some of the roads there are flooded there by the park. We had some drone video earlier of that, and this is just going to add insult to injury up there, because there was part of the road there, that Main Street, I believe Royal Road, that it was very difficult to kind of navigate around some of that water. So I'm just getting into some of that water myself here. As you start to lose, you're going to start to lose some of the structure of the storm, because I'm actually about to drive into it. You can see the cloud to ground lightning strikes that are off in the distance. Really strong winds, though. Here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if when I come into Farmers City that there's not some tree damage. There might be some, because I'm seeing some really strong little pixels in there that are showing, let's see here, I mean, 70-mile-an-hour winds. Now that is, let's see here, about 2,400 foot aloft. So there's some strong winds coming into Farmer City there as well on the west side right now. So this storm means business. I'm going to know more here in just a second. So I'll get you a report from Farmer City here in just a little bit, but we'll send it back to you for now.
All right, thanks, Kevin, for that. Of course, he's been in the rain and been out there. I'd like at some point to take Kevin's drone video from Farmer City also. So that's just a note there, but we're going to watch his camera really closely here as these storms are continuing to move on through. Let's do another radar check here. I'm optimistic that we're getting close to maybe releasing coverage here, maybe as soon as 5 o'clock with this tornado warning. The area of circulation, we haven't spent a lot of time on it, is now north of Piper City, moving off to the north and to the east. There's not been an extension of the tornado warning into Iroquois County yet, but if there is, we'll be here and we'll watch it. This is a first heads up for Danforth and Ashcombe and Gilman and up towards parts of the Clifton area. And that's going to be where we're going to watch that circulation potentially move through. As we show you the velocity product, the latest update now has it just north of Piper City here. And you can see that backwards C shape. And it wraps on in here. And that's where that circulation is now. Far northern Ford County, south and east of Kempton and Cullum, south of Cabery, close to the Stell community. If you're familiar with that area, we'll show you the velocity now, and you'll get an idea. The new update hasn't come in yet on that for the radar update, and they will shortly. Let's try this one here. We'll try that one. So I haven't gotten the new velocity scan, but you're still able to tell there's at least some broad circulation that's going to be in northern Ford County, close to Pella, near Stell, off to the east on 116 towards Ashcombe. And it looks like from what we're expecting here is there will not be an extension of this tornado warning. There is, though, the new severe thunderstorm warning that includes much of Ford and Iroquois County. That's for this leading edge here. They've used the terminology tornado possible on that because of not only are we seeing straight line winds with that, but also the chance for a tornado to spin up. And that's what they're watching for embedded areas of rotation for potential tornadoes and or enhanced winds, but not immediately likely at this point. So that's something we're going to watch and keep an eye on. Still, though, we'll be here for at least another 9 minutes until we get that tornado warning. The warning goes till 5:15. I suspect they'll cancel it early since those storms are starting to accelerate a little bit, which will save us some time. We, though, do have this warning now, the storm over Farmer City, and Kevin's on his way into that area now. We do have some flooding video from Farmer City. That flooding video, this is the Farmer City flooding, and you can see that there. Kevin caught this before the storm started. These areas have seen some torrential rainfall. We've gotten some of those rainfall reports on our website and on social media, and very much it looks like it's a concern with all of the rain and all of the water that's been associated. I mean, look at that. That's the park there in Farmer City from Sky 3 drone taken earlier today. Flooding will be a big concern in areas moving forth, especially those like Farmer City and Downs and Bloomington that have already seen lots of this torrential rain in the region. So we'll be watching that one particularly closely here into the area. As we see that drone footage, we're going to update you on some of these storms that are moving on through. I really think we're starting to wind things down, which is a good sign here. Some of that rain now exiting Bloomington normal. Still some light showers there on Storm Tracker Doppler. And those light showers are a good thing. We don't want any more than heavy rain because of all of that water you see in Sky 3 drone. Kevin now is moving into that Dewitt County storm. We still have the tornado warning for Livingston and Ford County. At this point, I can give Livingston County an all clear. For Fairbury, Forest, Chatsworth, towards Strawn. I also want to give an all clear to Sibley. And not quite ready to give it to Gibson City yet for straight line winds, 70-mile-an-hour plus. There's not a tornado warning for the city of Gibson. It's just to the north, but still some storms with what the National Weather Service says, extensive straight line winds moving off to the north and east with that storm. Well, I'm going to bring that camera back up in Gibson City. So if we can take the graphics full on Max 2, that's going to allow us to look closely here. Some of that ominous clouds coming on in. The rain has held off. A lot of that storm really surged to the north of town, but still some more storms to the south and west there. And that's what we're going to watch closely. I'm going to take us to Decatur now. We're seeing a storm north of Decatur heading towards Argenta, Oriana, eventually towards perhaps Whiteheath, Monticello, and places like that. We're catching the back back edge of this storm as it exits the Decatur metro area. This storm, no warning on it, but it may become severe thunderstorm warned and surge off to the east. And if that happens, we'll post on digital and keep our coverage going on digital platforms. I don't see anything that indicates rotation with that storm at this time. I'll take another look at here shortly. In Springfield, things are all clear finally in Springfield. Still some cloud cover, still some wind. The winds have been a problem through the day today. Haven't spent much time in Champaign, but we are looking from our studio camera, and this camera is looking there to, looks like we're looking off to the south. We'll take the stadium camera here shortly as well. And, you know, things are looking fine for now. We'll keep you updated in Champaign-Urbana. And one last view here. We'll go to Pontiac behind the storms. Things looking a bit more calm, although the winds still are breezy out there. All right, Amelia got some flood video in. And Amelia, I'm going to let you talk more about this, where it's at and what the video is seeing as we roll that here. Tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, so we've been talking about the flooding that's been going on in certain areas. This is one video that was actually sent in from one of my friends. This is in Bloomington, and he was just messaging me telling me there are several other friends that he's going to send me video of their basements flooding as well. But this is one shot. He did send me a video here. As you can see, the water is flowing out from the bottom of the basement here. He said it was several inches, and they luckily were able to get to it right away. But of course, it has been causing significant damage here. This is just one home. Now we have had reports of several homes getting significant damage here. So lots of water here, lots of accumulation from these systems that have been rolling on through here. So if you do happen to have video or footage, if this is happening to you, please go ahead and send that to us so we can get it on air and get people aware of this situation. It's clearly very excessive and the damage is pretty significant here. So again, this was a shot from Bloomington, but there are several areas that have been seeing quite a bit of flooding.
Yeah, the problems really have been concentrated for flooding in McLean County and more from these videos here.
Right.
The flooding is something that we're really going to start transitioning from. I do have some new information from McLean County to pass along. I-74 near Downs is flooded. It's at the Gillum Road overpass. If you're familiar with that area, you're coming in from Route 9 from east, from the east into Bloomington, where the airport is. Airport Road, you keep going to the south. There's a four-way stoplight there on 150. You cross over the interstate to the south of that. That is where the flooding is. And the EMA in McLean County does say that the I-74 is going to be closed for a little while until that water drains. They also mention I-55 remains closed and will be closed for some time due to repairs. They're going to have some extensive repair work on I-55 down by Funk's Grove, so some serious travel concerns in those areas. We're continuing to watch here with the storms that are rolling on through, a number of warnings in place. Severe thunderstorm now is east of Farmers City. It's crossing 74 north of Mansfield, coming into Bellflower on 136, Foosland, Blue Ridge, and Fisher next in line for that. That storm may come close to, if not north of Rantoul. But the next storm down the line is also in Decatur here. That looks like it's bringing a bit of a surge of wind. No warning on it. Past Argenta will be coming towards Weldon and D-Land, north of Interstate 72 in Piatt County. And I think that's it. I don't really expect many more problems from these storms further to the south and to the west. We are still here, though, until this tornado warning is let go. And I feel like it's very soon here that we'll be able to do that. We've got a photo that we just had, and that photo right on the left, is that from Gibson City? Is that what I'm told? Dave Norbat, how about that? Our own Dave Norbat sent a photo of it to us from the storms in Gibson, the shelf cloud rolling on in. When you see a shelf cloud like that, an indication of very strong winds with the storms, and that's something that will very much has been the case today. Some of the damage reports starting to trickle in from Springfield. Power lines down by Springfield Airport. Crews are on scene working to restore power in that neighborhood, and there's been sporadic power outages across the region as well. Thankfully, so far today, we have not had any confirmed tornadoes down, though the National Weather Service has indicated they will be identifying some areas and looking for some more. That looks like it's also Gibson City. Is that correct, that other photo? I think that's this. Let's see. That's going to be on the south side of town. Looking at those storms here, I think that's going to be the center edition where that's looking from, if I remember correctly. So we're looking at that shelf cloud. What we call that is a whale's mouth. The reason is The shelf cloud rolls on in, and then underneath that, you see that gnarly looking sky, a lot of wind shear, a lot more of that gnarly looking clouds there, an indication of some strong winds. Of course, now on the left side of your screen, we've got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy out there. I want to check in with him here momentarily as he continues to move off to the east following that storm and watching things. But at this point, we're going to be heading back to our coverage, back to our regularly scheduled programming and continuing coverage on our digital platforms for a while, as the tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire for Ford and Livingston County here. So let's get a quick check-in with Kevin and where he's at and the storm he's watching. Kevin, the good news now is we now have no more tornado warnings, but that doesn't quite mean we're done yet. Tell us more about the storm you're on and what we're seeing moving forth.
All right, so I just passed through Farmer City. A lot of tree branch, small branches down. Of course, I only came through, 10% of the city there as I came through, and then eventually got on 150. But lots of little small, branches, whatnot in the road, a lot of leaves and whatnot. So that was an indication that there was definitely some wind with that. So I'm on 150 now. I'm actually behind the storm. You're looking at it there ahead of me, and I'm going east on 150. So I'm going to be coming in to Mansfield there before you can see the water on each side of me here along 150 in the ditches and whatnot. This was another very efficient rainfall maker. And so we're just going to get back ahead of this here again, just kind of monitor it. There is still that severe thunderstorm warning with this, still some fairly strong winds going to be south of the Bellflower area. And so we're going to get back on this and kind of just see what we've got. But we are definitely seeing things wind down at least a little bit, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. So we'll continue to keep you up to date with these storms as they move through.
All right, Kevin, thanks for that. I'm just going to do one more look from north to south on these storms, and then we're going to toss to our regularly scheduled programming and continue our coverage on digital. That little area of circulation that we were watching in northwestern Iroquois County, still broad, still though some strong winds coming into Danforth and Ashcombe. That will continue to the east towards Martinton and Donovan along Illinois 1 north of Watsika. I think that's going to more carry itself into southern Kankakee County here. And that really is the only spot I have of concern right now for tornadoes. We're going to watch down line then. So you're looking at the velocity, how storms are moving here, how the wind is, and it's all red, a sign that maybe we're not seeing as much in the way of chance for tornadoes here, but still likely some straight line winds as a concern. A cell now near Roberts, another one just to the north and west, north and east, I should say, of Gibson City. This one storm does have a warning here west of Fisher on 136. That's the one that came through Farmer City, had some trees, branches damaged there, and that storm will likely continue. We'll cover that all on digital platforms. We're also going to watch this storm here starting to surge out a little bit north of Allerton Park, north of Monticello, heading towards Whiteheath and in Seymour. And that's what we have here. But I will mention again, the transition still concerning for flooding. Across the region. The flash flood watch does go through at least tomorrow morning. The tornado watch, some updates to that. We did cut back some of those counties. We told you that was coming, and here it is. We're still now for Christian, Shelby, Moultrie, Macon, Dewitt, Piatt, McLean, Douglas, Champaign, Vermilion, Iroquois, Ford, and Livingston counties until 7 o'clock tonight. There are some flash flood warnings that are in place here in those areas along Interstate 55, I-74 near Downs, and I-55 southwest of Bloomington are closed. Many roads impassable in parts of McLean County, and some of the latest reports are numerous cars stranded in Bloomington now. That came from the 911 call center, and thankfully today so far no water rescues. That was not the case tonight. Here we go. We're going to wrap this up and talk to our regularly scheduled programming. The time is 5:03. What we'll do is you can join us on our digital platforms for more coverage. Head on over to us there now. If there's a new tornado warning that does come out, we will jump back on TV and update you more on that. If not, the next time we will see you is on the WCIA 3 News at 6 o'clock. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Thanks for counting on WCIA 3 for your weather coverage today. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. There we go. We're back on our digital platforms right now. I'm going to take my earpiece out, unless we can turn programming off in the back. Can we do that by chance? Perfect. Then I can still talk and we can watch things here. Here we go. We're going to continue for this severe thunderstorm warnings and continue doing digital coverage. We do not have any active tornado warnings in central Illinois. There is a tornado warning in Kankakee County. And I said, someone asked, what about Clifton? We just heard the sirens and whatnot. Or we saw an alert. That's for the storm coming through Kankakee and Bourbonnais up there and continues to move in that general direction. But now we can kind of step back a little bit. We're going to let folks get ready for the newscast. We'll talk to Kevin also. The news is coming up at 6, but we'll continue our digital coverage here. And we may jump back into TV if needed for a tornado warning. But at this point, just cross your fingers. That's all I'm going to say about that. I do want to real quick pass along a report to the National Weather Service. We did get a viewer report of trees down on 54 in Farmer City. And that report came in from a viewer, so we will look into that. Kevin was in the area and saw some tree damage there, and we've had some other reports of wind damage, but that's confirmation that this severe thunderstorm had some straight line winds coming into Farmer City. Now, of course, Kevin is getting lost in the rain out there with this storm. This particular warning for parts of Champaign, McLean, Piatt, and Dewitt counties continues and will continue here for the little while longer. It looks like they're going to keep the warning in place, and that's going to go until 5:15. The time now 5:05. The storm is on 136 on the Champaign County line west of Fisher. As it crosses Illinois 47 here shortly in the next few minutes, will be from down here the Peoples Natural Gas Plant, Fisher and Foosland, even into southern Ford County from Gibson City. Some wind heading in that direction. That may carry its way towards Paxton and Rantoul. We do have the severe thunderstorm warning continuing for Livingston and Iroquois. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Ford and Iroquois County. Still very interested in this circulation out here. Fingers crossed that we can get the storm out of here, but it has that backward C shape, and an indication that there's some little brief rotation up by Clifton. So Clifton, we're not going anywhere. We're still with you on digital, but I don't have an immediate indication that there's a tornado down with this. There is, however, to your north, a tornado warning for a storm that has blown through Bourbonnais, Bradley, and Kankakee. That's up by Manitou, north of Moments in Kankakee County. That is covered by our friends up in Chicago on the television market here, the way the TV world works. But this storm warning for 70-mile-an-hour winds likely in the Clifton area, still something we're going to watch and keep an eye out here moving forth. So getting some heavy rain and strong wind reports in Bellflower and in Foosland. That storm has brought some damage to Farmer City. And if you have reports or more, you can send a picture, just message it to us on the news page, or you can send an email, news@wcia.com. You can also submit those to the WCIA 3 Weather app. Amelia, if you can, check the email. And you may have to do that on the other computer or on your phone even. Is that, we get emails at weather@wcia.com. Check that and make sure.
I did just get some pictures sent to me just now, actually.
Okay, so we just got some emails sent to us there. We'll have more on those pictures, whatnot. Say that again, sorry, Lord. Video from Strawn. All right, let's take a look at this video from Strawn earlier. This was as the tornado warning storm move on through. This storm is up by Clifton and Ashcombe now. No tornado warning on it. And we think it's going to stay that way. The rotation not all that strong, but still there's some indication, while there is some broad rotation, there's some strong straight line winds there. And you can see that very ominous looking cloud, the heavy rain and wind now coming up through Clifton, eventually towards Martinton and St. Anne on Route 1. And there will still be some wind as well further to the south and to the west there. But I don't see anything at this point that really concerns me about tornadoes. Still, the wind will be a problem with the leading edge of this storm, but still also seeing an indication of a fairly strong signature actually west of Fisher, of some strong winds coming on in. We've had reports from Bellflower and Foosland of that. And let me take another look at it. So we got Lincoln there. And I'm going to check the Chicago. We're going to check storm relative velocity. Let me just send a report in. We may actually be ready to bounce back to coverage here based on what I'm seeing. If we can talk to Kevin real quick. Kevin, if you're there, we're able to hear you, and I think you can hear us. I'm a little bit concerned about a little spot maybe trying to develop somewhere near Fisher. And I know you're out there on Interstate 74 now, heading back this way. Talk to us a little bit more about where you are and what you're seeing with that storm.
Yep, actually, I was seeing that same thing too, and I was actually going to head towards Fisher. I'm going to get off on the Muhammad exit. I'm going to get on 47 and go north. And yeah, I was seeing some of that too in that area definitely some strong winds. Nice little indicator there of some of those strong winds. So I'm going to head up there, get off here. Again, I just came off of the Mansfield exit, off of 150, now on 74, going back east. And yeah, that Fisher storm is something to keep a close eye on for sure. Definitely severe thunderstorm warned right now, but those winds that are coming in look pretty good. That we're getting kind of messy here with these different little line segments, kind of coming all together. The one coming out of Farmer City, the one coming out of the Blue Ridge area into Fisher, the other one from Muhammad into Champaign. Those all kind of in the general same area. I'm actually right in between all of those because I'm in Muhammad right now, or coming up to the Muhammad exit on 47. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shoot north here in a couple of miles and go up there towards that storm in Fisher and see what it's doing, see if it did any damage, because there's definitely some indications of some strong winds with it. But boy, the heavy rainfall, yeah, and we still have that flooding in Farmer City when I rolled through there, and the indications that there were some straight line winds, because we did have a little bit of tree damage just on the very short part of Farmer City that I went through, but I'm guessing there was probably a little bit more. So now that same little area coming into Fisher is something that we're going to monitor here. So keeping a close eye on those storms. The tornadic parts of these storms, we haven't seen that here in a little bit, which is some good news. But again, as these little cells kind of come together, we'll have to kind of keep a close eye on them and see if we see any little culprits in there that could cause some issues. But definitely in Fisher, you guys are getting hit by some pretty good winds here right now. So I'll let you know what I see as I head back north towards Fisher here in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Kevin, and we've been really appreciative of your reports out in the storm tracker here, and we're going to keep an eye on things. I think Amelia at some point here in a minute is going to talk about some photos she's seen, and that will come on Max 1 when she's ready. She's taking care of some other things right now, but we'll go to her in a minute. We're watching a cluster of storms now. This cluster here now at 47 and 136 on the west side of Fisher likely has some strong winds. Now, I'm concerned really for areas that are coming into Fisher and points towards Dewey here. Some strong winds moving in that general direction. In fact, it's in Fisher now. That latest radar update came on in. And we'll get an update on velocity in a second. We also think that there's probably some more gusty winds into Farmer City here. Won't be a clear indication of any circulations right now, but definitely that latest update, you see some of these bright pinks showing up here on the west side of Fisher. That's some strong winds that have pushed off to the east and likely bringing some heavy rain and wind in Fisher. This storm has caused some wind damage in Farmer City. Had trees down reported on Highway 54, and I think that's going to be on the southwest side of town. This rain and wind also hitting Footsland and some other viewer reports here on our digital platforms in the region. All right, let me just check what that was, and we're kind of behind the scenes watching some things. We're continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Fort Iroquois County also, and that's going to continue until 5:45. We'll give you another update on that. Real quick, I need to just check, Troy, what's weather radio? A weather radio question?
Backdoor wants to buy one.
Okay, if you want to go, do you know how? Yeah. All right, we're going to let Amelia take care of that for us now here. So Amelia does have those photos. Say it again?
Do you have those here?
We don't sell them, no. You have to go. Yeah, we're just taking care of some behind-the-scenes work. Amelia's going to take care of that. Let's go ahead and bring up Max 1 full screen. There you go. You got it. You know what I'm talking about here. These are some photos that Amelia's been aggregating together and keeping an eye on here. This is from Roberts. Andrea sent the photo to us of that. We also can see, as these photos come on in, more pictures. This one comes from, that's going to be an old photo there. I think this may be the only photo she has. Let me check. Of course, there's Interstate 55 with some of that damage there. Near Funk's Grove. So these are a couple of those viewer reports that we have of those heavy rain and storms into the region. If you have any reports, you can send those to us on Messenger. I'm getting a number of them myself, and I'm going to try and show you a few of those here if I get the chance to. And bring that shortly up here on Max 2 full screen. We're looking at Gibson City right now on Max 2 full screen, and we're going to keep an eye on all of these cameras right now. The wind threat continues into Fisher and will be something worth watching. I'll be interested to hear any reports from that area. There's other places seeing some wind. There were trees down in Springfield, Harristown, Farmer City, and other tree branches down. Of course, the flooding threat also going to be an issue. All right, bear with me here. I'm going to look at the Apple TV. I'm going to try and look at some of these pictures more, and that's going to be done in Max 2 here, so you're good. Oh, it's not connecting. Let me do something real quick and finagle with that. So we'll leave that up. Let me go ahead and bring up the radar imagery on taking care of some behind-the-scenes stuff here. We'll bring up the radar imagery and show you a loop over the last couple of hours while we get this taken care of here. And it's going to be just a pop out and pop in there. There we go. Let's bring the radar up on Max 1 if we can. There it is. We're seeing, again, the severe thunderstorm warning from northwestern Champaign County, parts of Ford and Iroquois County. Still, though, a batch of narrow showers and storms down to the south and west here. At this point, I'm becoming less and less concerned about the threat for tornadoes. If something does pop up, it's going to be in this batch in western and northwestern Champaign County, but it's very messy signature. We thought that might be the case here. In fact, the warning has dropped for Champaign County, still though indicating that there's going to be some strong winds into the region, and that will be something that we watch very closely into the area. So as I get my remote working here, and okay, we're going to connect to Apple TV. I'm hoping it works this time. Sometimes I have issues with it, and it just gets awfully touchy, and that's what it seems like it's doing now, so I don't have that. But we'll get those photos. If I'm thinking, Lauren, we're getting some photos that are probably coming into the inbox. We'll try and get those for the 6 o'clock news as well. Just having troubles with that Apple TV. We need to get an Apple TV remote in here. That's okay. All right, so we're going to check that out here. We'll go ahead and bring me back on the pod and talk about some of these showers and storms. The main concern with the straight line winds right now, pretty much out of Ford County. I really think if it's anywhere, the leading edge of that wind now is pushing into Iroquois County by a long shot, up by north of Watseka, north of Martinton on Highway 1. A little bit of a backward C shape indicating surging winds to the north and east. Also Watseka under that warning, Loda. But I think really it's more of these showers and storms here. And I want to give an all clear at this point, I think, to Gibson City, Melvin, Piper City, Sibley, and places like that. We'll watch closely. I think the storms to the south will stay to the south. In fact, there's a new severe thunderstorm warning that just came out. We talked about the chance for that. So Amelia, just note that new warning came out. We'll get it posted on digital. This is going to exclude the city of Champaign, and wait for it here. This is going to go off in a few seconds for the severe thunderstorm warning. This is a NOAA weather. There it is. What you'll hear is the tone. This is, of course, set to Channel 7 for Champaign County.
National Weather Service in Lincoln has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Piatt County, northeastern DeWitt County, southeastern McLean County, Champaign County, until...
So, of course, they issue that warning. You can listen to that there. It gives you information, and then you know to check on in for more details, which is what we're doing right here. This is for that leading edge of surging winds that is from Farmer City to Mahomet down towards Seymour. Also, the cell to the south and west of Champaign does have my attention for some strong straight-line winds. There's going to be some wind also in this massive rain from Fisher towards Dewey, but I think this backward C shape now, more of an indication for straight-line winds coming into Mahomet. By now, with the faster forward movement, Mahomet's getting some heavy rain and wind there. And I'm going to bring up our sky cam, our weather cameras here. And if we can pull the one from, I think, the studio, I need to turn that into the right direction. That'll be on camera 1 in the back of the scenes. We're also getting more video of flooding in that we're going to look at. So lots of things happening with this new severe thunderstorm warning in the area. Of course, if you have a NOAA weather radio for Champaign County, that did go off for you. And let me... Forest, Illinois flooding. That's what we got here on video real quick. So Lauren's going to take a look at that and pull that in. Let's go ahead and pull that in the preview while I get other things set here. This is a video from Forest. Look at all that. That's a drainage basin coming on in. And very much, some heavy rain there. So great video into the region is what we see. So we'll continue to watch that. Is that the only video we have so far, Lauren? Okay, that's fine. Is one of our photogs back there today, is he able to pull those in for the newscast? Or Okay, sounds good. Appreciate that. We can get as many of those videos as we can for the newscast. All right, so let's go ahead and pull the Skycam full screen. That's going to be on camera, weather camera 1 or Skycam 1. And that's going to show Champaign here at ominous sky off in the distance. You can see full screen. And that's what it is. Amelia, talk a little bit more about what we're seeing on the camera there as I get this post updated. You can see that shelf cloud rolling in, a sign of some of that wind, right?
Absolutely. We actually have reports of up to 60-mile-per-hour winds with this severe thunderstorm warning, and also.
Can you get Amelia's mic on?
My mic is my mic.
No, I don't hear the echo. If we can get Amelia's mic on here, that'll be helpful.
That would be, yeah.
There you are. Now there you are, Amelia.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for that. All right. So this is a live view of Champaign from our Flooring America weather camera. So as you can see, we do have the shelf clouds, and we also have had reports of winds up to 60 miles per hour. And also we have some hail that has been reported as well. Less than an inch, around yeah, we'll just say less than an inch there.
Penny size hail there.
Yeah, it's pretty close to a penny. So it's pretty significant with the amount of cloud cover. We have some winds that are going to be potentially damaging. We do not have the rainfall as of yet in the Champaign area, but it is definitely on the way there. It's just dark and ominous out there. Just an indication that these storms are now headed into the Champaign area. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning now up until 6 p.m. for the next 40 minutes for Champaign, Dewitt, McLean, and Piatt counties. So again, it is just continuing to see these storms filter in throughout central Illinois there. So again, that's a live view outside of Champaign. Let me see if I can pull up any of the other weather cameras for you.
Yeah, I'll have the one, I've got to turn the one from the stadium also, but we're kind of pivoting this around. Right. Very evident that this is a shelf cloud, will be a wind threat for the city of Champaign here over the next 20 minutes or so. You'll get the wind first, and then the rain will follow. I don't have anything at this point that indicates there'll be a tornado threat with this storm. We'll continue to watch that, but as we look here from southwest to north, you can see that shelf cloud, a sign of some real ominous clouds and weather coming on. And I have a feeling that we're going to get a lot more reports, Lauren, from the inbox and whatnot. And we want to get as many of those also for the 6 o'clock news as possible. Boy, we haven't even thought about the 6 o'clock news, have we?
We've been on for 4.5 hours.
Yeah, at some point during the middle of that, it was very much, hey, we need to get some stuff ready for the newscast here. All right, so let's take a look at we'll check in with Kevin in a moment. I'm going to take a look at radar right now on camera 1, and that's going to tell us where these storms are here. This leading edge of wind starting to surge north and east with this backward C shape. That comes from Mahomet. The storm's clear through there. We did get some reports of lots of wind and heavy rain there. This moving to the north and east. Fisher and Dewey next in line for that. This storm here is also part of the warning, and that's for the straight line winds that are coming in through the city of Champaign now. Leading edge now, Parkland College down Bradley Avenue. Prospects, it's there. This is coming into town here. We'll bring some gusty winds with it. And of course, folks are saying rain started coming down hard in Parkland and West Champaign, Southwest Champaign also. Willard Airport sits here. This will likely sweep through town in the next 15 minutes and bring some heavy rain and some wind with it. Amelia, can we get you to go outside and stand in it?
Yeah, just give me an umbrella. We'll probably can't have an umbrella
we won't let
with
her
the
do
lightning,
that.
right?
But we do have Kevin that's in the field, and I'd like to check in with Kevin at some point here in the next couple of minutes. I know he's been watching these storms and keeping an eye on it. This severe thunderstorm warning is primarily now a Champaign County issue. I'll give the all clear for McLean and Piatt County. I really think it's just Champaign County at this point based on the wind. We will mention maybe Bellflower and 136 east of 54, just on the tail end, but Fooslin, Fisher, next in line, Rantoul getting some wind. Champaign-Urbana, we'll get our fair share here. The good news is no real indication, though, of any rotation at this point. It looks like to me it's more of a straight line wind event from all indications that I'm seeing, and there could be some strong gusts in there. We've had some tree damage in Farmer City and more as these storms roll on through. Though I say right now the tornado threat doesn't look there. The tornado watch does continue until 7 o'clock tonight for the Champaign County and other areas. So we're going to watch it closely and keep an eye on it. But at this point, to me, it seems more like it's going to be a straight line wind threat than anything. Here we go. We can get a good vantage point of where some of these strong winds are. Even though the rain is up here past Mahomet, behind it, I still expect some gusty winds to continue in the wake of the storms here. That leading edge of wind now looking like it's coming here from the Champaign, Piatt, McLean County line, and it's probably a little further than that. So So we'll say 136 at the Champaign-McLean County line. Illinois 47 close to the People's Natural Gas Plant. Lake of the Woods now getting that wind, of course, and into Champaign here, especially on the northwest side on 74, crossing 57 very closely. Going to be some wind here, and even some more indications of some straight line winds west of Willard Airport. That'd be on Monticello Road, carrying off to the north and to the east. We'll continue to monitor this storm. That severe thunderstorm warning does continue now, and that goes until, what time did that go till? 6
o'clock.
6 o'clock for straight line winds here. We'll want to go back up to our storm to the north also. We'll show you the reflectivity here. You see all those bright colors in the back side here. I expect what that's showing is that we're starting to see the rear inflow jet pick up a little bit, allowing for some more of those surging winds here as that carries off to the north.
I just sent you video of,
to the east.
of some rain and wind in Champaign right now. There's video I just transferred to you.
All right, good. And Amelia's mic is hot. I hope she knows that. That's okay.
Wait, what'd you say, Jacob?
Well, your mic's hot right now. We can hear you telling them behind the scenes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you good. You good.
I'm telling them I have video just sent in.
I was waiting
Champaign.
for you to say, I'm tired of Jacob talking about the weather. Tell me off.
We have new viewer photos and videos. Please keep sending them in of the wind right now in Champaign. It's kind of making the rain there blow sideways. So that is a big factor with the winds going to be here in the next few hours as well. The winds are going to continue to be rather significant and potentially damaging. So.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a look at the camera here outside the studio. It's going to give us great vantage point. I mean, you can see that. We could bring that camera full. And then if someone can let me know if we have Kevin or have the ability to talk to him. I know he's in the area. The rain really coming down now in the city of Champaign, and will continue to do so. Very heavy rain. These are some tropical downpours coming through town, but also expecting to see some strong winds. The winds have been strong out of the south through the day, and that very much is what we'll continue to watch. You can see those rain curtains. Look at that, Amelia, on the camera. Those rain curtains whipping on down here. I expect we're going to hear that here momentarily. That is an impressive shot right now in the city of Champaign. And
wow, look at that.
Boy, that's pretty cool. You don't see that every day. Those rain curtains really whipping on in here.
Looks like I'll be staying in the studio with you a little longer, Jake.
Yeah, we should. I mean, it's right down the street. This camera sits above the studio here. I have an IFB, and so you'll probably hear it better than me. But look at the wind whipping on through here.
Let me go post this to social media.
Yeah, do that. I'm going to tell you what, you'd probably be better off. I don't know if that back door is going to be great to open up. You may want to try and hit the front doors. But you can see that wind coming in. I don't really know. Just make sure you don't lock yourself out. Your microphone is hot also. Can we turn Amelia's mic off while she's out checking things out then? And then I also would like to, I'm going to jump over onto Max 1 and we watch this camera. And I'm going to record this and send that back behind the scenes. So we're going to keep the shot up. Look at that torrential rain coming into town. The rain and wind, very heavy in nature. There's not a tornado with this, but we do have some strong straight line winds continuing with this storm. That's impressive. That's pretty impressive into the area here. And what we're expecting. If we can, do you mind if we just do a severe weather update on TV at this point? Real quick before this 5:30 news, is that something that can happen? Okay. So we're going to try and jump on TV real fast and just do an update before CBS News. With this, I just need me here, and then we'll do me, and we'll do Max, and we'll do like 2-3 minutes. I don't want to stay on here for a long time because I know the CBS News at 5:30 comes on. But that's what I would like to do real fast with this rain and wind coming down. So. You can hear it on the ceiling, the roof here. All right, what are we kind of hanging out here? What's the scoop? All right, so we're going to try and jump on TV real fast. We're trying to get an update from production, but this is the rain and the wind coming down here in Champaign right now from our studio camera. Heavy rain and sheets of lightning. So we're going to jump on here for a second for a quick 90-second update or so. Got a quick weather update for you here at the bottom of the hour. Right now in Champaign-Urbana, some heavy rain and wind coming through town. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for the area, and that goes until 6 o'clock. The storm in town, as of now, we do not expect there to be a tornado. Lots of questions and calls about that. This is a straight line wind event that's moving through the area. If we can bring our studio camera full screen real quick, we'll show you that in town. The storm overhead, some folks saying that there's some power, electricity flickering. And this is why here with the straight line winds that are blowing through the area. Not only that, but torrential rainfall will be an issue for us here. Now, again, what were you saying? We're going to 10 seconds here. All right, so we're going to wrap this up and go to CBS News. We'll have another update for you live on WCIA 3 News at 6 o'clock. We'll see you then. Jump me back on here, and we're going to continue to watch this from the scene. We're on our digital platforms and watching. Boy, is it some torrential rain coming on into the region here. The severe thunderstorm warning with the storm in town. Not concerned about a tornado, but we're going to talk more about it coming up here. And I have been recording a video. All right, let's go to Kevin real fast and talk to him real quick here. This is Kevin. It looks like he's coming back into town. No, he's in Rantoul. That's where he's at. He's coming in on the west side of Rantoul. If Kevin can hear us, Kevin, I'm going to give it to you for a little bit and let you talk. We're going to kind of adjust some things behind the scenes. Tell us about where you're at in Rantoul and some of the rain you're seeing.
Yep, coming into the west side of Rantoul. Heavy rain, and there is a pocket of some really strong winds. I'm actually probably going to kind of just hang out here in Rantoul, let this pass over me because actually I'm now just getting hit by those really strong winds just past Evans Road coming in here to Rantoul. I-57 going to be coming up here in just a moment, but wow, I'm just now getting hit by these winds. Oh my goodness, very strong, kind of whipping the car around here a little bit. There's probably 60-mile-an-hour winds here. I can barely see out here in front of me. Again, we're coming right up to the I-57 junction here as we come across on 136. Very strong winds just coming into town right now here on the west side of town in Rantoul. We're just going to I'm probably just going to hang here because I think there might wind up being a little bit of wind damage here potentially in Rantoul. If you're in Rantoul right now, you know that storm is right on top of you. And we're getting very, very strong winds here as we go under I-57. I'm just going to come in here and probably hang out here and let the storm kind of pass over and then assess because, wow, yeah, we're really getting slammed by these winds now coming right off here on kind of my passenger side of the car. Rain bands in front of me whipping through, and it's hard to tell, but until I can kind of see maybe some trees and want to see how strong these winds are, but you can see the flag. We're going to see the flag coming up here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to pull off here, and I'm going to get off and just kind of come over here and maybe pull off at this gas station, and we'll watch this storm come in. And you can see in front of me, look at those low-lying clouds. That's where a lot of that wind is going to be. So we're going to come around here, and we're going to come back in. I'm going to pull into this Circle K, and then we can kind of watch this storm as it passes through. Really strong winds. Here we go. We can watch these trees here in front of me to get a little bit of an indication of these winds. Look at those trees over there. Okay, you can see. So here we are in Rantoul. The storm, the strong part of the storm just coming into town here, and we are feeling those winds really begin to pick up. Really strong winds right now. Wow, this is the strongest yet. Here we go. We're right in the middle of it. You can see the winds kind of whipping around some of the trees off there in the distance here. I'll shut off the windshield wiper since you can actually see. You can barely see in front of me off to the Burger King there. And the Jimmy John's, that very strong winds. I'm telling you, I think that there could be a few trees or power lines that come down with these winds here that I'm seeing. Again, we are in Rantoul right now, but just getting hit by those gusty straight line winds. We're seeing those winds whip across the, we've just kind of pulled in here underneath the canopy of the Circle K at 136 and just past I-57 there. So again, getting hit pretty hard there. You guys just tell me, I can, if you need me to toss back to you, I can. I know you guys are trying to figure some stuff out, but that storm also seeing what's going on there into Champaign County.
Yeah, we can hear you, Kevin.
Strong there as well.
Yeah, we're ready for to take it back here, Kevin. We saw your video. There was actually a branch of that tree by the Burger King that went down in front of you. I don't know if you caught that. We saw it. We're watching that camera really closely there, some of the storm damage in the area. And so, Kevin, we'll have you check out in Rantoul. We're getting some reports of some power outages that maybe occurred briefly in Champaign, 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts. And so we'll be interested to hear more reports as we watch Kevin's camera. We watch our Champaign camera. We can bring that Champaign camera full here. The rain has let up a little bit, but it's still very heavy and tropical in nature. Wind was really whipping through there for a little bit. And then very much as the storm continues to the east, I would suspect we'll likely get a new warning for it, for straight line winds as the main threat for northern Vermilion County. Let's go ahead and bring camera 1 full here, and I'd like to talk about this warning. And the plan will be is we'll stay here until 5:50, and at 5:50, I'm going to turn it over to Amelia so I can get ready for the show. And then at 6 o'clock, we're just going to keep this digital stream going. I'll probably stop it and restart it and keep it that way for us. But we no longer have any tornado warnings. Now we're just left with severe thunderstorm warnings, including this line of storms now from Champaign up towards Gifford, moving off to the east. Next in line of this big heavy wind and rain, Royal, Ogden, Homer Lake. We've got Fairmount there. Potomac, Armstrong, even up towards Paxton getting in on the action here. And we think even towards Gifford, points to the east, Armstrong, Potomac. This line of storms expected to continue here as it has more of a straight line wind signature than anything. We'll take a look and just give some kindness to the line of storms further down here. And this is from Moultrie through Shelby County down to the south and west. There's not as much excitement to this as there was some of our other storms. The instability beginning to slowly pull away, and that's going to be an issue for us here for a little while longer. We can see here the velocity not really all that strong, although maybe we'll have to watch a little spot here and there. We'll keep an eye on it. That's not overly concerning at this point. And you can see where it's correlated with about the right spot of the storm. So we're going to keep an eye on them, but certainly it seems like the strongest winds are going to be for parts of Champaign County, and eventually as this line moves off to the east into Vermilion County, that may very well be an issue for us too. So far today, there have been some reports of tree damage. Farmers City, Harristown, Springfield all had damage with some power lines down in those areas. We've got some tree branches that are going down in Rantoul per Kevin's shot, and we continue to watch these storms as they carry off to the east. I will mention more straight line winds coming into parts of Iroquois County, heads up Cissna Park, Woodworth, Watseka, Milford. The leading edge of this right here surging to the north and to the east. Could also be Wellington and Hoopeston as these storms slowly move on through with their tropical downpours and 60-mile-per-hour winds, though it seems like at this point the threat for a tornado continues to wane. It's already low at this point and remains low moving on through, but the straight line winds will be the main threat of what we expect. Behind this, I'm going to bring that camera back, and I think we're going to see in Champaign, ooh, look at that. It's become more peaceful out there. I'm in fact going to turn that camera a little bit and watch some things. So here we go. We're starting to see a little bit of a much lighter sky off to the west. Then we're going to turn it to a little bit northwest. Still some heavy rain there in north and west Champaign as the storm continues to push on through. And if you want to bring that camera full, go for it. I think that'll be a better shot than what's showing up on my screen. So we can bring the preview screen in the program. Then continuing on through here to the north of town, you can see an east. That's looking over towards Campustown. You can see the base of that shelf cloud as it rolls off to the east, off in the distance there. That's where the leading edge of the wind and rain is now as that races off. A much higher base than earlier storms, so another sign that maybe the tornado threat isn't going to be as high, and we think that's going to be the case for us with this particular storm. So this is a straight line wind event for parts of Champaign County. And it continues to do so. I actually have lost control of my camera up there. That's weird. Let me check my presets. We're going to look back to the north towards downtown, see if that works. All right, I've lost control of the camera here in Champaign. At least it's looking to the east as storms are moving out. And Urbana getting in the rain and wind and the temperature drop. Some folks saying on digital platforms they've been seeing that. It's primarily, though, at this point, seems like it's going to be a straight line wind event from this point on. I won't rule it out. I won't say never, but at this point, I think the instability values are much lower to where there'll be less of a concern for us at this point. I've got no warning in Moultrie County. There's still some strong winds, probably from Findlay through Lake Shelbyville and into Livingston. And we can bring my Max 2 full screen and look at that. Some of these winds moving on through the area here. We see some signatures there. In fact, I'll ask away and see what they're saying. Some indication of maybe some brief rotation near Lovington and Bethany. What's going to happen is we're going to put all this effort to having a great newscast at 6, and then we'll get something else to spin up and blow it out. That's the way things work sometimes. It does seem like mainly this, though, is a straight line wind event for Champaign County now. That leading edge of wind into Gifford, Flatville, approaching Royal, coming in towards St. Joseph, and eventually down towards Willard Airport. So that's all going to be from that batch. Then we'll watch more straight line winds coming in through Cissna Park and up towards Onarga here, based on what we're looking. Maybe a little spot weak rotation trying to get going north of Hoopston. But at this point, with instability values lower, it's not something that I'm interested in overall, and we'll keep an eye on it. Okay, just updating some information here. That little cell, we're going to watch all these little storms here. Just because they're, we say the threat's decreased, doesn't mean it's over necessarily. And we're going to keep an eye on things here closely and monitor and keep an update going. And that's what we'll do. So we're going to watch each of these storms and take them as they go. More linear in nature, more messy in nature, but that's going to be the story for us here. I've got no severe thunderstorm warnings for Shelby or Moultrie County. It looks like for Monticello, we're going to call all clear there. We'll call all clear Decatur, all clear Bloomington normal, Gibson City all clear, Piper City all clear. Haven't done that in a while. US 51 all clear. Now Shelbyville, Sullivan towards Champaign, Paxton, over towards Watseka and Hoopston, and points to the east, a narrow sliver left here. But the further east these storms go, the lesser the instability values will be from these storms. So if you don't mind, Amelia, first off, I saw in some of your viewer photos that you pulled in on that show, some of those were actually old photos, and I just wanted to give you a heads up before we.
These ones, where are we at?
I think I opened the new hit to get the radar up. These here, I think only these two.
Yeah, these two are the only.
So then you have these available.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So that's the other report.
So I was going to show this.
Are you going to show some viewer photos during the newscast? Is that the plan?
If that's what you want me to do.
If we're watching on digital right now, we're kind of.
I was thinking maybe showing this and then potentially just a few viewer photos and also the flooding video I got of the basement.
Okay, perfect. Are we hearing that in the back, Lauren, of kind of plans moving forth here for the 6 o'clock news? We're talking about these storms and we're watching, but we're also getting ready for a newscast at 6, and the news today has been weather.
I could do that like off the top of the 6.
Yeah, so off the top of the 6, we're going to show. I'll do the forecast first, and then I'll do weather first. Then I'll toss to Amelia. Then I'll toss to Kevin. I'll toss to Kevin, then Amelia. Kevin's going to talk about what he's seeing now. Amelia will do some viewer photos, and then we'll roll into the rest of the newscast as normal and cover some of those flooding things and roll that. Does that work? Is that a plan?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm just adding.
Amelia's good. Now. I hope Lauren caught that. That's why we have her. What we're watching. Okay, so let's get some updates real quick. Again, I don't see anything immediately indicating that we'll have a threat for a tornado, but Amelia, if you don't mind, I'd like you to drive for just a few minutes here.
Yep.
I'm going to kind of check behind the scenes, and they can cut my mic.
Yep.
And I'm going to let you just kind of talk about these warnings, so you can come over here.
Okay.
What we're looking at. So, we can use this here to talk about those warnings. So this here is the warnings. If you want, you can click that to look at the warning boxes.
Okay.
And then also this is a tornado watch, flash flood warning.
Awesome.
I'll let you do that. So
okay.
We're going to cut my mic. Amelia's going to kind of drive the ship for a minute here. I got to take care of a few things behind the scenes. Before I walk off. That's just an update to the tornado watch in case you want to. So Amelia's in charge here.
Where did you say these boxes are here?
It's going to be the BR1. You can click that and zoom in, and it'll show you that.
Okay.
And then it takes those boxes off. So when you zoom in here, you'll see those
All right,
boxes pop on
perfect.
it.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drive now here. So we have already been talking about all the active weather, of course, the last almost 5 hours here. But this is a severe thunderstorm warning still set until 5:45. So here just in the next minute, Fort Iroquois, Kankakee, and Will, that's just right outside of our viewing area. But for Champaign County, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning. That is until 6 p.m. So still the next 15 minutes or so, we are going to stay live here, of course, before the 6 p.m. newscast, and then Jacob Dickey will come back and take over again. But we have seen close to, we'd say, maybe a penny-size hail associated with these storms here. There have been winds. That's been the biggest factor with these severe thunderstorm warnings. The biggest factor, of course, the winds up to 60-mile-per-hour gusts. So that just expired there, the warnings that were just issued in those certain areas. It's still holding into Champaign. Right now, we can hear it coming down in the studio. It's been rather loud here. Let's see. Just looking at the updates now from our National Weather Service. Things are looking to die down just a little bit. As of right now, it doesn't look like we have any more threats for tornadoes. That, of course, could be changing, but it's looking to die off a little bit. It's starting to taper off just slightly, so that is the good news. But we have the tornado watch is still out in certain counties, so let's give an update on this. Livingston, Iroquois, Benton, Ford, Champaign, of course, Vermilion, Piatt, Douglas, Moultrie, and Shelby counties are still holding on to the tornado watch. That's for the next hour and 15 minutes or so. That will expire, we're thinking, around 7 p.m. Now, some areas might see this expire even earlier than that, such as Iroquois and Benton counties, still in Livingston as well. They could be kind of expiring a little bit sooner than the rest of us. So we'll keep an eye out on that, but those areas are still holding true to the tornado watch. Now, another big factor, especially in areas as Dewitt counties, big flooding issues. So there is still a flash flood watch. This goes until tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, for all of the areas shaded in green here. So let me go ahead and list them off for those of you just maybe listening and not truly watching your phone, just listening to us right now. This is in Livingston, Iroquois, Benton, Ford, Vermilion, Champaign, McLean, Dewitt, Piatt, Macon, Logan, Menard, Cass, Morgan, Sangamon, Macoupin, Montgomery, Christian, Shelby, Moultrie, if I haven't mentioned that area yet, Coles, Douglas, Edgar, and if I haven't mentioned this, Piatt counties as well. So the majority of our viewing areas still under a flash flood watch. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull up some of the viewer photos here that were sent in. This is actually one area that was definitely affected by the flooding here. This is on Interstate 55 near Funk's Grove, closed indefinitely southwest of Bloomington. Of course, this is one of the highways that was extremely affected by the flooding there. So that's just one area. We have seen some viewer photos sent in, and also I got a video from one of my friends there of a basement flooding. So that is a big factor. And here comes Jacob Dickey. He's going to go ahead and take charge now.
That's right. We got a new tornado warning that was just issued. This is for that storm down in Moultrie County, so we need to break into TV here. And we're going to allow that to happen. And so in the back, getting set here for that new tornado warning near Lovington, moving to the north and to the east. That's going to go until 6:30. Just let me know when we're ready to roll on air. And just for you, Amelia, don't forget that warning in Iroquois County, that new warning for southeastern Iroquois.
Stand by 5 seconds.
I'm WCIA 3 meteorologist Jacob Dickey. We are back with a new tornado warning in central Illinois here, and we're covering that with you live now on our digital platforms as well as on TV, breaking back into CBS News now. This will likely eat up a lot of our time during the 6 o'clock newscast. This tornado warning includes parts of Moultrie, southeastern Piatt, western Douglas County, and it will go until 6:30 p.m. A storm near Lovington moving to the northeast at a pretty good clip here. 45 miles an hour. We'll be approaching areas from Lovington, north of Sullivan, towards Arthur and Atwood and Hammond. And this storm here, as we kind of mentioned, started to show signs of some weak rotation with that. We'll show you this on base velocity. There's two areas that have my eye. One of them just to the east side of Lovington on 133. You can take that out to the east towards Arthur. And this one will be heading to the north and east towards Hammond and Atwood. This tornado now a warning for area of rotation. We'll watch the one further to the south and west of Lovington. This is a second area of rotation in my mind that may follow it. Primarily the concern for the storm east of Lovington, but I still think at this point areas south of Lovington towards Sullivan still want you in your tornado shelter for perhaps a second area of rotation that is developed there. This is a look now at velocity, storm tracker Doppler, the reflectivity, and what this is here is showing this area of rotation wrapped up in the rain. There's one spot here. Here's the other one there. Both of these circulations, one about 3 miles east of Lovington, the other about 4 miles northwest of Sullivan to the east of Bethany, are moving off to the north and east at 45 miles an hour. This particular warning will include Lovington and Arthur. It will include Arcola, Atwood, and Hammond. It also does include Voorhees. It does not include Monticello. It does not include Sullivan. It does not include Tuscola, though I will mention these storms may come fairly close to Tuscola, and we'll have to keep an eye on them downstream in parts of Champaign County, perhaps down by Pisodum and Tolono on its path. I know the Tolono fun days are happening now. Folks that are in Tolono, we want to have a heads up because most of the storms so far have seemed to miss the Tolono area. It's probably been looking eerie there, but downstream now, this tornado warning for the storm near Lovington. Two areas of circulation we're monitoring, one just to the east of Lovington, another south of Lovington, both of those moving off to the north and to the east. We're here again with team coverage. We've got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy in the storm tracker now. I think he's now in Champaign County. He's over by Rantoul as of last check. We'll hear from him shortly in a minute. Amelia Henderson also working the digital behind the scenes here, and we do want to mention as well, we've been watching the severe thunderstorm warning for Champaign County, now extended into northern Vermilion County. That will be north of Interstate 74, the leading edge of some surging winds that caused tree damage in Rantoul, now approaching Potomac and Armstrong and Rankin along Route 1. It will also be heading towards Bismarck and Hoopeston. Route 49, I should say, from Armstrong north to Rankin. Route 1 from Hoopeston up towards Bismarck. That severe thunderstorm warning heading in that direction. Of course, just a severe thunderstorm warning at this point in Champaign and Urbana, moving off to the east. So we're going to watch this closely and keep an eye on this area. But the main concern at this point is for a new area of circulation, storm capable of producing a tornado, really two of them at this point, in Moultrie County. One of them now approaching the city of Atwood, one of them just to the south of Lovington. Both these little circulations here, these individual cells, do have the potential to drop a tornado, and the velocity does support that. Reflectivity looks at the intensity of it. The velocity looks at how they're spinning. And I tell you what, that's spinning up a bit more here on the south and west side of Atwood to the east of Hammond, about ready to cross the US 36. At this time, we need Atwood in your shelter, Arthur, Lovington, even Cushman in your shelter. Very soon, we'll be able to call Highway 32 an all clear. Highway 121 is all clear in Sullivan. This is to the north, but that's a very good circulation that's showing up here near Atwood, heading off to the north and east. And if it continues like that, that would require an extension of the warning. Eventually, that'll head across 36 into areas from Atwood, north and west of Tuscola. Of course, you've got the big fertilizer factory west of town sitting there. Chicken Bristle is up here. In southwestern Champaign County, you've got Sedoris. We're also looking at places like that where downstream, Ivesdale, Tolono, and Pisodum, this may very well be heading. So we'll watch these storms as they carry to the north and east. But at this point, a very good signature of a tornado close to, if not down, to the south and west of Atwood. Knowing radar, this a few minutes ago, it likely is now crossing 36, if not just to the north there. That is circulation number one. Another circulation, though, very much now south and east of Lovington, has crossed Illinois 32, will follow in its footsteps. Less impressive at this point, but still something we're going to watch very closely. Quick check of the time. It is 5:53. We've got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy in the storm tracker, and if Kevin is able to talk to us, just let me know in my ear, say yes, Not yet. Okay, we're going to get Kevin back here. He is moving. Let's just take a shot and look at it real fast as he's driving out there, and we can get an idea where he is. It looks like he's heading south from Rantoul in the storm tracker and heading south towards Champaign. Looks like some emergency light. No, those are just headlights up front there with the reflection on the raindrops. We're going to hear from Kevin shortly. He saw some wind damage in the Rantoul area, and we'll be working to get him back here very shortly and hear from him. In here in the studio also is Amelia Henderson. Amelia, while we were focused on the tornado warnings, including the tornadic storm coming towards Atwood, Kevin's seeing a lot of that rain. Just talk to us real quickly about some of those rainfall reports and some of those things you've heard.
Oh, yes, you've seen an extreme amount of rainfall. In fact, some viewers are saying they've had over 4 inches just in the last few hours here. Of course, that could be a little bit of an exaggeration. Hard to really measure that, but we have been seeing quite a bit of flooding as well. I've had a few friends send me viewer photos of the flood damage that they've had, specifically in basements. That's been a big factor. We've been warning you about that all week long here. Now it's happening. So I did see a viewer photo that was sent in, actually a video of them funneling out the water from the basement. So flooding has been a big issue here. As you can see from our live view from Kevin right now, the rainfall is just